breaks, you'd have been right on time.
Fine.
That's the thing. We start
Did
this
you
a little
change?
earlier.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Like 6 months ago. Yeah. Thanks for paying attention.
Okay.
Yeah, we do start a little earlier than usual, which is why you're late. All right. So let me get into some of this stuff, and we're going to talk local stuff as well. I don't know who watched Trump and Zelensky today. It wasn't quite as tense as it has been in some situations, although it was interesting because did you guys see the visuals at all of what was happening? So he's sitting around, Trump is sitting around with the cabinet and everything, and Zelensky's facing him at the table, and the media is behind Zelensky, right? So he basically makes Zelensky sit there with his back to the media for 40 minutes, and he answers questions about all this stuff. Now, he made it pretty clear that he wants a deal. He made it pretty clear that he thinks that Putin wants a deal, and he had a phone call with him yesterday that was extensive, and they're going to set up a meeting in Hungary. He also made it clear that even though Zelensky wants the Tomahawk missiles, that's not on the board right now. He was asked whether or not the threat of the Tomahawk missiles is something that is being used as a negotiating piece. It seems maybe it is, but he was very the president was very confident that he's going to get a deal. I think he's bolstered by what happened on Monday with the hostage release. And I really sincerely think, Sean, I'll start with you, he wants to get something done here. But, when you hear the particulars, I first of all, I'll say this. We can go to Israel and what's going to happen with Gaza. You have a hard time me believing that thing's going to settle down and the ceasefire is going to hold. In this situation, I mean, Zelensky still thinks he can win this war. So I don't know where the peace part of that plan is going to come from.
Yeah, and it's so hard when you have people entangled like that to figure out how you unwind it simply. But I guess all I can say is I'm sure there's so much behind the scenes and detail and odd stuff going on. But you got to give the guy credit for slinging everything he's got, spending a lot of time on it, saying Trump. I mean, spending time on it, and I mean even these conversations with Putin about, you don't want me to send him Tomahawk missiles, do you? I mean, you can tell there's a strength diplomacy instead of we're way past sending John Kerry to saying you've got a friend to people. Where we're actually engaging in diplomacy and we're trying to take on issues, and I think you can see a difference. So, I mean, none of us thought he would get even to phase one or it'd be hard to get the hostages out, and all of a sudden it kind of happened. So I think there's something to be said for being relentless and really putting the pressure on it.
Jeff?
I agree. He's been energetic and, very focused on Gaza and Ukraine and sending money to Argentina. I swear I was reliably told that America was going to be first, So I'm just a little confused by
Look,
that.
To your point, I will say this, that there are people on the MAGA
as
side.
As opposed to the $20 billion going down to Argentina.
I understand the jab, and there are people that are on the MAGA side that aren't happy about some of that, right? My position on Ukraine is I'd like to see it over. I don't see that. I've never really seen it as a winnable situation, right? So that's why I think some force and diplomacy.
I don't see a lot of MAGA on it, though, because the biggest issue I think that most of his base had was paying for it for free. I don't think they ever were averse to Ukraine. I don't think the average Republican
There's a little
voter,
out there, though. There's definitely rumblings.
But I think as long as you're not spending a lot of money and resources there that could be spent here, say on hurricane victims or other things that are going on, I think that it's more of a fiscal issue, I think, to a lot of Republicans than it is a policy issue.
For some, not all, though. I mean, there's pushback in some quarters,
which is going to be
sure.
interesting to see how that arises to this, bailout in South America, right? Because I've heard more of the fiscal concerns around that. Like, what is that getting us?
Right.
Who, like, what, how?
What have they done for us lately?
How does propping them up benefit us so much? I mean, they're not like one of our, top trading partners. So, they're not the country that's like buying the most grain. And when you look at, kind of the impact of some of the things that are happening around China, right? You guys saw this week, I don't think it was one of the topics, but, Trump threatening, hey, we're going to do 100% tariffs on everything. As you see, if you see some of the stuff on YouTube and you read about it, you got farmers all over Missouri that are freaking out about this, that are saying, hey, like, we're going broke. We can't do anything about the loans on our John Deere. We got to pay that no matter what. And it looks like we're probably going to have some kind of bailout, for those farmers again. So,
the hidden tax.
Yeah. So how much sense does it
tariffs.
make? How much sense does it make to like get the money in tariffs, create massive amounts of uncertainty for farmers all over the country?
It's the art of the deal.
And then bail people out, on the back.
I'm just glad everybody's all America first. I'm glad you guys are all worried about the farmers, and we're going to be worried about American prosperity. We're going to focus on ourselves. If nothing else, he has refocused as he does the conversation. So
but then once he got us focused, he stopped.
He's always one step ahead of you.
It is. I the whole farmer situation, that is not going to be as clean as he thinks it is, and. Because once you start helping some farmers, you're going to have to help them all, and that is going to be a very, very expensive proposition. So at some point, the art of the deal is going to turn on him, because once you start subsidizing some, I don't know how you turn that spigot off. I mean, I don't know how
we've never been able to do it. Yeah,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
We've never been able to do it.
No.
We
So
tried
why
in the
not
90s.
have-
You know, like I got to tell you something. Like, this is I mention this every once in a while. It was the only work that I really ever did. Real work for a living. When I was 13, 14 years old, I worked on a farm in not suburban Chicago. It was way out near Aurora, which is now like suburban Chicago, Big Rock, Illinois. And I walked soybean fields and I did stuff like that. But what I didn't know, and I learned this at 13 or 14 years old because my mom's aunt and uncle were farmers, that they were paying them to not grow crops. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? I mean, it was mind-boggling to me even as a teenager. And of course, we've always done this with farmers, right? To try to manage what's going on with supply and demand, and to try to balance things off. But it's a
It goes
tough
back to the
balancing
50s.
act.
Do you remember Catch-22? Did you guys all read Catch-22?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course, because
There
we
was
were
the
forced to.
character,
Right.
Major, 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 and there was like a great opening to a chapter that said Major, Major, Major was a rock-ribbed conservative who awoke at the crack of noon every day to make sure that the alfalfa seeds were not planted so that no crops could be grown, to ensure that he got all of his subsidies.
Right. I mean, and that it's so bizarre. But on the farmers, look, the farmers have been nervous about all these tariffs all the way up until now, and a lot of people have, and I expressed concern about the tariffs as well. But it seems like, again, that's Trump using some negotiating strength. And I think that things have not been as doom and gloom. I mean, maybe the farmers are in a different category
I build homes,
as
and
they were.
That's all anybody's been talking about. Is how we're going to get killed with tariffs. Our lumber prices are going to go through the roof. Fuel's going to be through the roof. Everything. I mean, we've been hearing nothing but doom and gloom on it forever. For the last however since he's been elected on tariffs.
Well, home builders are the only people who never get subsidized.
But I'm just saying we're not really.
It's not
we're
hitting
seeing
yet.
prices that are
Right.
up, but nothing like the inflation that. I mean, if you guys are worried about tariffs, they're nothing compared to the inflationary problems we had the last couple of years. They're nothing like that. And if not nothing else right now, especially all the shutdown going on, it's amazing how that's all of a sudden a big source of funding for the government, that he's been able to pay things. I mean, it's just a more complex story than tariffs bad. Everything good.
I think so, too.
I think we've jumped too far. I think it'll take time for it to be able to see what the result is.
That's Sean Flower. He's the mayor of Eureka. Jeff Smith, former state senator, is here. Jane Duker on the panel. She's back after a couple weeks off. It's a Reardon Roundtable on a Friday.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads right now, if you are westbound on 70, it looks fine out of downtown. Eastbound is a little slow at 141. And then as you continue west, it's slowing at Wentzville. And it's eastbound 70. There's an accident really close to Forestell, and that has created a jam behind it. Westbound 40. That's slow, but it's mainly moderate volume. It starts at Hampton, and it goes out through 270. That's in pockets. And then it doesn't really slow again until Highway N, out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, some moderate volume, especially at Doherty Ferry. Southbound 55 slowing at Bates. And a little moderate volume westbound on the Poplar. But it's eastbound 64 that's slowing between 157 and 159, all due to road work. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Annie here, and I can proudly say no more spiders in my home. I use Point Pest Control 4 times a year, and I haven't seen any, not a single one, since they've been in my home. Mention Annie and get 10% on top of any other special. Point Pest Control, 636-798-0023.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Now that we're getting older, we've been putting more thought into maintaining our health.
We knew the water we drink every day could be filled with contaminants, so
We called Leaf Home Water Solutions.
they came to our home and did a free water test and gave us the analysis right away.
We were shocked at what we saw.
They found heavy metals like iron and copper.
Our own tap water was putting our health at risk. But Leaf Home Water Solutions made it easy to get safer water from every tap and hose. A whole home solution.
They have more than 250 product combinations and designed a system that fits our needs and budget. The installation took less than a day.
With Leaf Home Water Solutions, our water is safer and healthier. When we drink, when we cook, when we shower, even when we garden.
We feel better about our health.
Thanks to Leaf Home Water Solutions.
Schedule your free home water test today at leafhome.com/free and save 15% on all home water treatment systems. That's leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Friday afternoon, a Reardon Roundtable on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't forget, we have our big birthday celebration coming up next Thursday at Lit Cigar Lounge, and it's free. You just have to RSVP and tell us that you're coming. We have the VIP tickets are all sold out. Sue, have you checked StubHub to see what the prices are?
No,
up
I have
there?
not.
I bet you can grab a couple of wristbands up on StubHub right now. We have Jane Duker back on the panel, making her triumphant return after a couple of weeks off. The mayor of Eureka, Sean Flower, is here, and former state senator Jeff Smith as well. Which, Jeff, I'll start with you here. Are you going to go down to the Hate America rally at Keener Plaza tomorrow? It all starts at noon. The march starts a little after 1. You can, wave your Palestinian flag and chant death to America and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to it myself. How about you? You want to go down together?
I am going to be in the ruby red state of Tennessee for my kids' rock climbing competition.
That sounds a lot more fun, doesn't it?
I'm going to be there. My girlfriend is contemplating attending, though. So we are going to be with Scott Fitzpatrick, the state auditor, tonight, and Alex Riley, the House Majority Leader. So I think she was going to ask them if they wanted to join her.
So you're going to be with sane people tonight, and what you're telling me is now you have a left-wing radical girlfriend. Congratulations on that. No surprise. Who's going to go to the Hate America rally tomorrow? That's
Everybody
good.
wants one left-wing radical. Come on, let's be honest.
But you got what is the shutdown continues. Now we're hearing this thing might go into Thanksgiving or something like that. What is this a Democrat shutdown? I mean, our side voted to keep the government open. Your side wants to keep it closed right now.
The rules are that you have to get 60 votes.
I understand that.
In the Senate, and so that requires some kind of negotiation.
Well, we've had a Republican like Rand Paul says I'm not going to vote for it, and John Fetterman says I will vote for it.
And yeah, and Democrats are being, it's not like Democrats are being cagey. They're saying, hey, there's like 2 things that we want. And if you want to negotiate on these things, then you can have our votes.
But Senator Thune yesterday said that we will talk about, you're not going to negotiate the ACA subsidies right now. You're going to open the government with the CR, and then you can have negotiations. He made that clear. He says he wants to do that. And, I address this issue.
You don't vote yes and then hope you get what you want.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's not part of this.
That's not art of the deal.
Look, so what do you want? What do you want to have happen? You want them to negotiate the ACA subsidies and go on for weeks and then keep the government closed. That's what you're saying. Because that's what would happen.
No, I think what people are saying is
Sean's just laughing.
Is that in the wake of some of the things that have happened over the last few years, like certain Republicans saying Donald Trump has no place in public life and should be banished from public life, and then a year or 2 later they're endorsing him for president, right? So that's kind of a macro level. On a more micro level, things like Susan Collins or Murkowski or other senators or Bill Cassidy from Louisiana saying, no, I'm very distraught by what I heard from this cabinet nominee. And then a few days later, they end up voting for him. So there's not a lot of trust there. And so I think what Democrats are saying is, hey, we're being very explicit about what we want. We're kind of trying to save you from yourself here politically, so that Republicans aren't the ones that
so
end
nice
up.
of you guys.
That end
They're
up.
so generous.
I mean,
They are. They're
I
so
mean,
generous.
well,
it's like Christmas come early, Sean. Look at that.
Explained it that way.
You guys have such big hearts.
Because Democrats,
God bless you, Jeff.
because Democrats don't want people to face a doubling and tripling of their health care premiums. The 20 million people.
You mean the ones that they passed temporarily and then renewed temporarily? Those are the ones you're talking about that were supposed to come to an end, that are coming to an end?
And all the fraud protections on.
Why not make those?
Those are the ones that I'm talking about.
Okay,
yes.
good. Just
and
checking.
So, hey, I'm not saying Democrats are doing it for the reason of saving Republicans politically, but I am saying let's just hypothetically say that there were 5 more Democratic votes, this went through with 60 votes, and then at the end of the year, 20 million people saw their health care premiums double or triple. I don't think that'd be great for the Republican Party. Do you?
Well, I don't.
For midterms.
I don't, and I know that there are Republicans that are aware of that as well.
Sure.
You know, there are messages
But
that
they're
are
being
being said.
Our United States Senator Josh Hawley.
Yes.
Okay.
Does not want to go through this.
I
He
just
does not.
remember. I mean, it's just so
I'm
entertaining because these exact same arguments, both parties flip them. But like when Ted Cruz and all them were shutting down on Obama, you just pass Obamacare, and then they Republicans shut down the government. All they had was their one request is that you repeal Obamacare. I mean, and then they held it up, and eventually they said, for years, Democrats have said, don't shut down the government, don't put a gun to our head, don't take hostages, and then it's highly entertaining to watch it flip. And all of you guys are making the exact same argument on the opposite side that they make before. There's no principled argument for it. And the thing that I find amazing on it is you've given the keys in a shutdown to Trump and Russ Vought, who are slowly going through and killing. Most of the public can't even tell the government shut down, which is bad for Democrats, because he's done a great job of keeping all essential services going instead of intentionally trying to tank it. And now they're going through and cutting programs all over the place that the public's not even aware of. I cannot believe I cannot believe that you should be begging them.
Mayor
to come
Flower
back
for
in.
the win here this afternoon, because
Well,
he's right
but
about
I
that.
don't understand then, if these are unnecessary programs, why is he waiting until now?
Because he doesn't have the power to cut them until there's emergency situation. You guys are basically giving him unilateral authority to start slicing
And they're
dicing
taking advantage of it
programs
right
that you
now.
would have the ability to vote on. He's just trying to help you, though, but he's getting rid of programs you probably wouldn't want, so now you don't have to vote on them. He's such a nice guy.
Well, so I think
Yeah,
yes,
he's
you're right.
altruistic as well. Nice try, Sean.
So number one, just to take the arguments in order, Democrats have flip-flopped on it, exactly like Republicans have.
Right.
Okay?
Everybody's taking the opposite position.
Yeah, because Cruz and the Republicans trying to shut it down had the exact opposite position of what they have right now. The only main difference is that Barack Obama was never going to sign legislation to undo Obamacare, whereas Trump is kind of considering he would be open to restoring the subsidies for those premiums.
But a lot of the things are in the big, beautiful bill that just got passed, so the fraud protections on the illegal alien benefits that are cut, and those are things that they're directly everybody.
There
pretty
are
much
not
understand.
illegal aliens do not get
Get
Medicaid. They do not get Medicare, and they do not get subsidies for the
100%
exchange.
wrong.
No, I'm
It's all done
100%
through
right.
the
I'm 100%
states.
right. What happens is that the money goes to hospitals, okay, and to compensate them for uncompensated care. It doesn't go to illegals to take advantage of any of those programs.
But the illegals get the benefit of the care.
It is not the same
It is the
thing.
same
It is not
result.
the same thing. The only way that it can go to hospitals.
It must be true because he's upset.
None of you guys know none of you guys know what you're talking about here. I'm just being honest. It only goes for emergency care. So if you want to stand up and say, I
Those
think people
articles-
should be left dying in the street instead of going to emergency rooms because they're not citizens of this country, then you can take that position. You're free to
So
do
you
that.
do think
but
they're going
that's
there.
where it goes. It goes to uncompensated care for emergency
Right.
rooms
And-
to
and
hospitals,
if that
not to Medicaid, Medicare.
Okay, fair enough.
or
But if that
subsidies.
uncompensated care was not there, then this is one of the concerns, and I think one of the concerns that Senator Hawley says, and then in particular the rural hospitals suffer from that because they have to eat the costs.
He's right.
Well, and because the hospitals are not in a position to judge the status of people who come in and who are very ill.
You're
They
bleeding
have a
out.
There are
duty-
already rules and regulations on emergency care, which are separate from the provisions they passed in the big, beautiful bill. What they're really talking about is states take the money through these programs, and then they just completely, particularly California, there are newspaper articles talking about how California is providing health care to all illegal aliens, and you think none of that money is coming from the federal government? It's fungible, so they overfund over programs, and they do it through states, and that's a lot of the fraud protection that's on there, and I do know what I'm talking about.
But
it's in the paper.
Missouri,
But you can literally see articles in California.
You said those programs.
The programs at the big, beautiful bill, what the reforms in it stop state ability to use the money in a way it's not intended for. It has the effect of preventing health care from going to people that shouldn't have it outside the emergency setting. And that's something that you should not be asking for people to do. You're frauding the government. It's not that hard to understand.
What Mike Johnson is up on TV saying is dishonest.
It's simplified. You guys want to make it super complicated, but at the end of the day, you're saying basically they're getting it.
They're not.
They're just not. What you're saying is it's illegal, just like it's illegal to cross the border. But it never happens because it's illegal.
That's not
well,
what
it got
anyone
quiet.
says.
No, it says it all the time. It's illegal to cross the border, so nobody must be here. So it's
but
illegal. It's illegal for them to get health care. So they
no
must
one's
not
saying
get
that
health
no
care.
one's crossing the border.
But
we know that
his
it's illegal
point
and
is
they're not.
that
illegal,
there is
so it
federal
doesn't happen.
money that is going. It's just happening. Look, they're not turning people away, and we're not going to turn people away. But don't you think?
Well,
Missouri's not the
to.
best representative of this, but let's go to California, where you have millions of people who are citizens, legal citizens, that don't get the quality of health care that they could potentially get because the money is being shuttered elsewhere. Or same thing with education. But states like that don't seem to care. Your party prioritizes people who came here illegally over American citizens. That's one of the arguments right now, and that's what people are frustrated about, which is why so many people voted for Trump last
that's
year.
Doing a $20 billion bailout for Argentina. I mean,
Look, you're going to keep going back to Argentina, and I don't even know much about that, so I don't even care about it.
Well, I mean, I am surprised that we are just sending a blank check to another country. I didn't think we were doing that anymore.
Big picture, though, I do think it's interesting how different it's handled, though, because Trump, it's showing that you don't have to do what Obama and what different people have done during the shutdowns to make it as painful on the public as you have to. And it's also amazing to watch him go settle the biggest Middle East conflict we've ever had with the government shutdown. Every day this goes
You're
on.
going to eat those words
but
because if you think
maybe
the Middle
work.
East is solved, you're on
But
crack.
what I'm saying is it's a lot better attempt. It's all shut down. He looked pretty good. He's political. He's doing. And again, does it hold forever? I don't know.
He's lame duck.
I'm confused by, let me go back to Obamacare.
But I'm just saying the
because
government's shut. How does it all happen?
when we were talking about Obamacare and we were debating this back and forth, I used to have Senator McCaskill on all the time. I was told constantly by Senator McCaskill that this was going to reduce premiums. That was what that was all about, right?
It did.
The problem with you guys,
it did dramatically reduce the rate of growth in premiums. For the decade before Obamacare was passed, the average was about 8% annual rise in premiums. It's gone down to 3.2% in the last 15 years. So no, it hasn't made premiums go down, but it has dramatically slowed the
This
rate
is
of
the
growth.
slowing of the growth.
People are better.
Right.
People are better off. They are. And here's the thing. I mean, there's no replacement for booting all these people off of care. I mean, I'm just telling you, what there is no plan for the 20 million people that get booted off of health care that they're now paying premiums for through the federal government. What happens? Do you think that is a good effect or a bad effect?
Well, because look, it's a very complicated situation.
Of course
You
it
have
is.
look from one standpoint, you have people, and this is documented too, and you can't blame them, that are avoiding their employer plans because they get a better deal on the ACA. So then what do you do about that? How do you means test or make sure that people who have
it's
the
already
ability
means tested.
Well, but I mean on the ability to jump on
But that's
these
part of the
employer
problem
plans.
with these subsidies, though, is they're increasingly, because it's getting more and more expensive for everybody, that means testing is becoming a less and less of an issue because it's costing more and more, so more people need it. But I think also the thing that's interesting is here is because it's complex, it shows how inappropriate it is to be done in a shutdown situation in a tiny period of time.
Let's debate it. Let's get the government running.
With this one.
I totally agree with Sean on that.
We should be doing real
one of the
budgets.
biggest problems with our whole country right now is that we've completely lost regular order in the
That's
U.S.
right.
Congress. We should have committees that have 40 members on a big committee that spend their
When did
life,
that start?
That spent
With Obama.
But they've been
No,
doing
it didn't start with Obama. It actually started Clinton in the 90s.
Well, there you go. It's
started
20 years,
Republican
20,
Congress,
30 years.
Yeah, Republican Congress, Democratic White House.
Yeah, they
But,
balanced
yeah,
budgets
we're,
back
we're,
then.
we're dedicated
that's true.
subject matter experts spent a year crafting, budget policy. That worked better than it does when you just have one massive bill that no one wants to vote on, a 2,000-page bill that they can't possibly read.
Hang tight. We got to take a break. We're coming back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, we had a stall earlier, eastbound 70 approaching 141. Watch for that one on the right shoulder. But now we've got an accident on westbound 6440 reported near Lindbergh. Camera is turned the wrong way. I can't see what lane is blocked, but boy, I see the jam behind it. And eastbound traffic is slow approaching 170 through Big Bend. And westbound is the usual volume to the east of there. So that's Kings Highway out through McCausland. 70 is the way to go out of downtown if you have a choice. But it's really jammed from Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through Wentzville. And there was an earlier accident eastbound 70 approaching Forestel. That's created slow-moving traffic back past Wright City. Manchester slow in both directions at 141. And southbound 270, not too bad. But there is some volume at Ladue Road. If you're headed into Illinois, we actually look good on the bridges downtown. This report is brought to you by Aspen Contracting. Is your siding dragging down your home's curb appeal? Aspen Contracting can transform your house with new siding, fast, efficient, and built to last. Don't settle for an eyesore. Call Aspen today for a free siding inspection. 636-465-1696. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
With this season's drought and high temperatures, demand for new sprinkler system installs is at its peak. Even with a little rain in the forecast, now is the absolute best time to put a new system in place, setting you up for a healthier, greener lawn next year. Don't let your lawn go through another season looking the way it does today. Take control now, and you'll never have to worry about the damage heat and dry weather can cause again. Call 636-695-7800 or visit ProOutdoor.com to schedule your new system installation today.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Make the most of fall and have an outdoor space that you actually love that's built to last. Lakeside Renovation and Design builds custom decks, screened-in porches, covered patios, and they use these durable, low-maintenance materials like composite decking and aluminum railings. They're going to make sure you have the perfect setup so you can host your family and friends for backyard barbecues or just sit outside and enjoy the morning coffee even when it's raining. Don't wait until the spring to start planning the space that you want to enjoy next year. Start with a free consultation. Visit lakesiderd.com, lakesiderd.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From the gateway city to the front lines of freedom. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Well, let's call an audible here this afternoon on the Reardon Roundtable and talk about a story that is just breaking that will make most of your heads explode, unfortunately. Jane, you just found this for me here this afternoon. It just cleared in our local paper. Millicent Borshad was fired as superintendent of St. Louis Public Schools on Friday after a rocky 15-month tenure marked by criticism of her handling of a school closure plan and a vote of no confidence from the teachers union. She said she was terminated without cause by the 7-member board, which held a 4-hour closed meeting. According to her contract, here's the win for her, she will still receive about $750,000 in remaining salary plus health benefits through June of 2028.
It's revolting.
She's the one who replaced the woman who
And who could have seen this coming? Because that woman hired her. She was a crony of the former superintendent that was fired and spent. And by the way, nobody's gone to jail yet for stealing all the money from the district. There's been no prosecutions. What the heck? I mean, how much more do you have to do? I mean, this district is in complete disarray. This is like this is the 5th last straw that we've had like in the last year on this district. And this whole thing of we sent it back to the people, since this has gone away from state control, it has gone to hell in a handbasket. And so say what you want, but this is terrible.
It's sad because you are all these other things. You
kids.
combine this with what happened in the aftermath of COVID. You know that there aren't people that are going to school because of the tornado. I mean, I was up in North City a couple of weeks ago. So this is, accumulation of things that are not good for these kids and a next generation here in St. Louis. It's hard enough. And then you have people in these leadership positions who are
She
bozos.
was at Hooters with the other people. I mean, she was on the boondoggles that were paid for. And I'm like, gee, board.
It's indefensible.
Easy, Jane.
Well,
Don't go after Hooters.
That's
you're right.
why. But look, Steve Butts, when he's looked into this is one of the issues he's passionate about. Stop it.
We're just saying.
He'd like to know the answers that you're trying to say. Well, where's the culpability on the part of the board, and were there crimes that were committed here too?
I mean, in just at some point, gross negligence turns into intent. I mean, at some point.
I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to stand up for Dr. Borshad. First of all, she's an American citizen. Shouldn't that count for something? Sorry, that was a Des Moines joke. But
by the way, that guy got more charges today too.
He was at St. Louis Public Schools.
I know he was. He was here in like 2017, 2018.
Yeah, I knew him then.
Yeah. Did you really know him then?
Oh yeah, I did. I was on a panel with him. Yeah, but in all
shocking. Was it a DEI panel? That doesn't surprise me.
It was a panel where I took a position that they didn't like very much because I've always supported charter schools.
Okay, all right. Well,
but I will say, in her defense, and I'm going to be serious here, one of the proposals that earned her so much flack was something that needs to be done, and that was one of the things that earned her a no confidence vote from 2,000 teachers, staff, and that was we got to close buildings.
Yes.
Okay. There are school buildings around the city that have 100 to 200 people in them that have capacity for over 1,000.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
It's totally unacceptable because we're spending so much money maintaining the physical plant of buildings that the money doesn't go to teachers, which is what it needs to be.
No, it goes to Borshad.
Well, yeah, we won't even go into that. Obviously, I don't support
and
that.
Boondoggles and junkets
I
and
appreciate
trips and DEI meetings.
that she at least and that report was, I think, going to be discussed at a meeting on Monday, which has now been canceled. So
but you know what? They're not going to get away from that issue. They're going to fire her, and the board is going to be on the hook. I mean,
well, the board should be on the hook.
The board should be on the hook for something.
But then what happens? It's the same damn people who have to choose the next person that runs this school district. There was quite a bit of stability there. I don't know how much the education improved, but Kelvin Adams had, when I first came back to St. Louis, we were talking about schools every 6-8 months. There'd be a new, but he did establish some level of
financial stability,
right?
If nothing else.
In the state board, they actually that was appointed. They actually did get to financial stability, and it took no less than like months after that was gone for the financial stability to crash.
Okay, let's Reardon Roundtable. Jeff Smith is here. Sean Flower, Jane Duker. Big story a couple of mornings ago. Rennie Knott, Channel 5, been there for more than 20 years. Was a sports anchor. They moved him to the mornings. He had to get up real early. Maybe that's a win for him. He doesn't have to do that anymore. But it happened in very kind of a shocking fashion because nobody knows really what happened. The general assumption would be this is a contract. It's a money thing. Old media, radio included, a lot of challenges. There's no doubt about that. There's still some anchors out there in the television land. They're highly paid, and the ROI is questionable. But this just seemed like something that was so abrupt, and nobody's talking about it, Jane. And believe me, I've tried to find something out.
You and me both. I mean, I really like him a lot. He is really embedded in the community. He is intensely popular. And so I'm very curious to see, because I've not seen any pro comments at all. This is like John Kelly all over again, and people are not happy. And
Right.
so I am curious what KSDK is thinking. I mean, they did that with the weatherman on the morning show. He was surreptitiously just gone.
Anthony Slaughter.
Yeah, but that
Anthony Slaughter.
that one might have been, I don't know, that might have been a budget thing.
They told him in one day, you're just not coming in
But
anymore.
Jane, that's what happens. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
I
just
know,
telling
I
you.
know.
It's unfortunately, I've been there a couple of times. It does happen. But with
20
Rennie,
years in.
With Rennie, I think that if it was like a contract thing or something like that, I think you'd probably say something, and
Like
just
we
make
couldn't
that
come
clear.
to agreement
right.
on a contract.
I that's why, and I said this yesterday. I have no information, and I've heard a couple of rumors that I just don't even believe. But I just have a feeling that someone was triggered, and this was one of those zero tolerance things with an HR department. I don't know. We'll see if the story even comes out. But let's broaden this a little bit, because I have John Pertzborn's coming on in the next hour to talk about his retirement. He's actually retiring. He's been on a bit of a farewell tour with Fox. Next Wednesday is his last day. John's been in the market for 40 years. Been here for a long time. You have people, whether it's Kay Quinn or you can name a host of other local reporters and anchors who just aren't there anymore on the ground doing reporting. I put Kevin Killeen on the KMOX side into the mix as well. And you have a situation that isn't good for St. Louis with local journalism. The paper's been stripped down as well. I gave the Post credit because I think they did a good job in exposing what was happening at SLPS with that superintendent. You need local journalists.
Yes.
I'm not crazy
yeah.
about some of the guy like this Mark Maxwell guy gets on my nerves at Channel 5, but at least he's chasing down stories and asking questions.
Right.
So I'm concerned about local journalism. I don't see where it's going to improve.
It's not getting better. And the good reporters are leaving, or they're getting pushed out. And you can't fault the 12-year-olds that come out
Well,
of
they're hiring
college.
them right at J school,
Right. And, they don't know anything about the community or anything. And St. Louis is so very parochial. This is a blow to – I think it's just an erosion of good journalism, and it's sad.
And kind of a microcosm of what we've seen nationally, where you have, the kind of elite papers are doing fine, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, elite writers start their own Substack, make, $500,000 a year by building an audience on Twitter or other social media networks, and then getting, thousands of people to pay $7.99 a month. But it really, erodes the institutions of journalism that can, hold
And it
people
further,
to.
I guess
That's
what do you call
because
it?
those
It just
institutions stink.
fractionalizes it.
People are talking, even the Post, which is the best tool we get. I mean, so often you can pick up a Post-Dispatch. The political bent of the front page is almost hilarious every morning. That's why there's you've got at least a lot of red people in the county that won't buy it, because you can just it's everything. If it's possible to slant it negatively, it will, and you just see it over and over again. And there are very few, like I just did one even on, and sometimes it's even like anti the area, because I had a gal from outside of she's new to the area, Post reporter, and they did a story on Six Flags, and again, I gave them good information. I'd met with them recently, but it turned into another headline.
Six Flags is not leaving.
But it was a big headline of Six Flags on the dump going
Right,
down.
right.
Oh,
Because
my gosh.
so it's not even like really. It's okay to have a neutral, informative thing, but you just got people flagging. Whereas if what's funny is if I do like my local leader paper that handles kind of our southwest side, Eureka,
Yeah.
Blywood, they do more good stories on local government, local stuff, zoning people, and they get a ton of reading, ton of high school sports. I mean, there's a big craving for almost more local stuff, but
I'm going to take issue with that. I don't think it holds water to say they always have the most liberal slant, because the Post-Dispatch and their exposés about Kim Gardner's office help draw attention to that problem.
That's right.
The Post-Dispatch and some of their exposés about the
school board,
the programs, the under Mayor Jones about kind of the fraud, in the North Side Business Program.
Yes.
That was exposed by the Post-Dispatch. A lot of the stuff with St. Louis Public Schools was exposed by the Post-Dispatch. So I think there is good kind of watchdog reporting going on that isn't automatically protecting the kind of
There's some of that.
I would say
I'm
it
not,
varies national versus local too. I would say probably on some of those you've got some more fair. I tend to look at it more through the lens of what's going on across the country and their headline, and so often the repeat stories are very.
Well, they just reprint AP on the
Right.
national stuff,
which is where the bias comes from. Hang on, we got one more break. We're coming back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
If you are just leaving the office, we've got a report. Well, it looks like that may be clear, but be careful here. It was eastbound 70 at 270, the right lane closed by debris. Now, where we have the most volume is westbound 70 out west. And I'm talking about Bryan Road all the way out through Wentzville. It's just a real slow go, and there is some road work out there. Now, it looks like 6440. The usual volume when you get to Hampton is pretty slow there, but there is a jam. We had an accident near Lindbergh that caused a delay, and that jams things up on southbound 170, which lines up south of Olive. Then it's moderate volume out at the 70 split. Now, southbound 55, moderate volume at Bates. No problems on the bridges downtown, but there is some volume on eastbound 64 between 157 and 159. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Climate Masters. We specialize in older homes. Climate Masters Heating and Cooling. Trusted heating and cooling installation and maintenance service. Keeping the St. Louis Metro comfortable since 1978. Call us today at 314-968-8383. Climate Masters.
Brand new office for Susan L. Ward and her family law practice here in St. Louis. They opened up in May at 13421 Manchester Road. It's in De Pere. Beautiful, beautiful location. Lots of modern amenities. I know that Susan is very proud of that. If you need her help, you can certainly get it on the website at stlfamilylaw.com or by calling 314-783-9400. Now, the website's great because it has even some blog posts up there from, topics like relocating your children, things you might need to know, even estate planning. But if you need help with a situation that might lead to the end of a marriage, don't put off getting in touch with Susan and with the office team. There's a confidential consultation form up there, the email address, the number again, 314-783-9400. They can help. They have a ton of experience. She's been here for multiple decades in St. Louis, serving a lot of folks, doing it in an expertise way. And again, a brand new office as well. STLFamilyLaw.com, the focus on family law, the emphasis on you, Susan L. Ward.
25 years of 97.1 in St. Louis. Here's Jimmy Fallon.
Danny Fry, Mark Cox. I mean, you guys have a stacked deck. You got that Jimmy Fallon guy later in the day, but you know what? You drink a little bit at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, you'll get through a show. Congrats on 25 years.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. Quo lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? Quo automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With Quo's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions and use those insights to level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with Quo. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's quo.com/free. QUO.com/free.
Now that we're getting older, we've been putting more thought into maintaining our health.
We knew the water we drink every day could be filled with contaminants, so
we called Leaf Home Water Solutions.
They came to our home and did a free water test and gave us the analysis right away.
We were shocked at what we saw.
They found heavy metals like iron and copper.
Our own tap water was putting our health at risk, but Leaf Home Water Solutions made it easy to get safer water from every tap and hose. A whole home solution.
They have more than 250 product combinations and designed a system that fits our needs and budget. The installation took less than a day.
With Leaf Home Water Solutions, our water is safer and healthier. When we drink, when we cook, when we shower, even when we garden.
We feel better about our health.
Thanks to Leaf Home Water Solutions.
Schedule your free home water test today at leafhome.com/free and save 15% on all home water treatment systems. That's leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
In the next hour, we'll do all kinds of fun stuff like we usually do on a Friday. Jane is going to hang around. We'll have a Friday edition of Sue's News. Paul Hall on entertainment. Frank Cusumano taking us into the weekend with sports. Jane is here on the panel. So is Sean Flower, the mayor of Eureka, and former state senator Jeff Smith. Jeff, I want to start with you on this. And I want to acknowledge something, and I haven't talked about it a lot on the air, but there is this story, because I know you're going to bring it up because you're dialed in. There is this story out there that Politico reported on a couple of days ago about these text message exchanges between a young Republican group. It was revolting. It should be condemned. I think in a way, J.D. Vance tried to handle this a couple of days, and I didn't really appreciate what he did, because I don't see how I can sit here and criticize Jay Jones and the text exchanges from. But
they're both disgusting.
They are. But here's the difference. The young Republicans, a bunch of numbnut kids who shouldn't have,
Not
you know.
quite.
Well, one guy was 31 or 32.
A few of them, they were like chiefs of staff to state
condemn them,
legislators.
fire them.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. The difference is that I don't see people on our side standing up for these kids. They may be minimizing what the damage might be, but why is it? I'm asking seriously from a political standpoint. Is it because Jay Jones is black and they're worried about the African-American vote in Virginia? Then why can't people distance themselves from that guy?
You were honest about that and asked the question in an honest way, and I'll answer it in the most honest way I can.
I'm very curious.
It's too late to get him off the ballot.
Yes.
Okay, that is the very simple answer. If it were 4 months ago and you could still get him off the ballot, every Democrat in Virginia would be like, those comments were vile. He has no place in public life. He needs to get off the ballot.
Yep.
But it's too late now, and so it's you know.
But can't you still apply pressure and say, okay, he's on the ballot? But
I gotta think that they have gone to him privately and said, dude, you know, like
it's over.
It's over. Blah, blah, blah. You're gonna drag down the ticket. Like, fortunately for Democrats, Spanberger is probably ahead by 8 or 9 points. This will probably
tightening a little bit.
This will probably take a few points off her margin.
Right.
She'll probably still win.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Winsome, and I really do. But I mean, there is. We're not on the ground in Virginia, and there's a difference in. You know, Spanberger's a good candidate, I would say. I mean, I think she's nuts on the issues, but it's not like she's a wackadoodle out there, and she's well known. And Winsome is, you know, she's a little quiet. She's right. I mean, everyone says controversial things. My expectations, just looking at the polling, is Spanberger's going to win that. Right now on the AG's race, though,
I think we'll lose the AG race.
Right,
and I think deservedly so. You know, you nominate a candidate who has done those kinds of things, and it wasn't just that. Wasn't just those texts. He's also
got 116 miles an hour, and
and then said like awful things about law enforcement. So I agree with you. I was very disappointed in J.D. Vance for just going straight to whataboutism, and
I didn't like it either. I'll be honest with you, I didn't like it.
Yeah, and just like I'm disappointed in the state Democratic chair in Virginia for just getting asked a question and just being like, Trump, Trump, Trump. We have no moral credibility as Democrats lamenting the way that Trump has coarsened the public dialogue if we're willing to countenance that behavior on our side.
By the way, I don't know if I have this bite, but I can't even believe I'm going to say something. I'm not really saying something nice about him, but did you hear Mamdani last night when he slapped down Cuomo? And he basically said that's something along the line. That's really good from the guy who sent elderly people back into nursing homes to die. And I'm like, hey, there's the first time I agreed with Mamdani, right? He's not wrong about that. Thanks for coming in, Jeff. Thanks for being on time. We really appreciate that.
God, you're
always
so
something
Called Senate time, Mark.
That's
But it's good to
That's
see
true.
you, and it's been a little while. You haven't been on the panel for a while, so great to catch up. Sean Flower, always great to have you on, and you weren't wrong earlier, and I appreciate that. And Jane, you're going to hang for the next hour. We'll have some fun. But thank you, gang, for hanging out on the Reardon Roundtable. Let me promote what's coming up here just a little bit. I mentioned John Pertzborn. I'm excited to sit down with John and say farewell to him as a media member. I don't think he's going to. It's almost like a funeral, though, when you retire and you have a farewell tour like this. But John's coming in at 5:32. There's an actor by the name of Dallas Goldtooth who is in town. He's on a new Apple TV Plus show, although now they're just calling it Apple TV, called The Last Frontier. I've watched a good portion of the first episode. Dallas is going to come in the studio. We have Brian Kilmeade tonight as well, the host of Brian Kilmeade's show in the morning here on 97.1 FM Talk, the host of One Nation on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. We'll hook up with Brian. I know that he was paying very close attention to everything that was going on with Trump and Zelensky. And by the way, I think he had Trump on it was either on the TV show or the radio show today. So we'll check in with Mr. Kilmeade. Cusumano is going to join us, of course, at 4:50. We have what looks like a sweep by the Dodgers of the Brewers coming into shape. Mizzou plays this weekend on the road at Auburn. The Blues tomorrow night against Dallas, and the STL City final game of the season tomorrow night home against Salt Lake City. And, of course, the Chiefs in action against the Raiders on Sunday.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, I can now see the accident, westbound 6440. It's past Lindbergh, and they've got the left and right lanes blocked. The center lanes, therefore, are the only ones getting through. Look for a jam back to 170. And this, of course, is jammed up 170 as drivers try to make that merge onto westbound 64, which, by the way, is also slow. It really goes back to Clayton Skinker and kind of merges into one big jam. Now, once you get past there, things open up and look better out west. 70, it's a little slow at Jennings Station Road, eastbound slowing a bit past the airport, but then it's slow pockets from K all the way out through, looks like Wentzville. And eastbound traffic still slowing at Wright City. We had an earlier accident out there. And eastbound 64 on the Illinois side, look for a slow go between 157 and 159. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs. It's in Chesterfield Valley, and there you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. You can take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleanings. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the saving.
Welcome to Coffee House. How are you today?
Hi, great, thanks. May I get a sea salt caramel latte with almond milk, extra caramel, extra shot, iced,
Gross.
And to go, please. Did you get all that?
No, I was just ringing you up for all the extras. Can you repeat your order, please?
Oh, never mind. I'm just gonna go.
Stop paying extra for extras. Get fancy coffee without the fancy coffee price at Quick Trip. Raise your coffee bar.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Stop killing and make a deal. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump says that's what he told Russia's president yesterday in a call and Ukraine's president during a White House meeting today.
Finish it. End it. We want it ended. So many people have died
in this war.
There's no word on any decision about greenlighting the sale of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine to put more pressure on Russia for peace. The Trump administration now asking the U.S. Supreme Court to allow deployment of National Guard troops in the Chicago area. An emergency appeal to the High Court after a judge temporarily blocked deployment and a federal appeals court refused to put that order on hold. The administration argues the troops are needed to assist immigration enforcement operations as agents face sometimes violent protests. There were more clashes earlier today outside a suburban Chicago facility where protests started too early, violating a city-imposed restriction on the timing.
Chanting, making noise, and the big thing right now is they want to keep them in the designated protest areas and out of the street.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Broadview, Illinois, where multiple arrests were made as some demonstrators did not stay behind barricades. Across the U.S., hundreds of No Kings protests are planned tomorrow, organized by groups accusing the president of abusing his power. House Speaker Mike Johnson considers it a far-left publicity stunt.
You're going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party. That is the modern Democratic Party. That's where they've gone.
And he argues tomorrow's protests are part of why a government shutdown has continued. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
We look forward to sitting down with anyone, anytime, any place, either here at the Capitol or back at the White House.
Still calling for talks on health care funding, especially an extension of Obamacare tax subsidies. Republicans say the shutdown has to end first. America is listening to Fox News.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
All is quiet with our weather on this Friday evening. Partly cloudy skies. We might see a shower towards morning, but the evening is dry for any plans you may have, including the Friday night football game. 65 for the low. Saturday, still wet, still unsettled, still kind of stormy. Periods of rain and some thunderstorms around with heavy downpours, possibility of hail and gusty winds, but that's not for everybody. Windy and 78. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I missed an opportunity here. Sometimes on a Friday, I'll tell Fred to set Dave Murray up just for an updated forecast. You heard the recorded forecast there at the top of the hour. But here's what caught me off guard. I got an email from Harris Stowe earlier this afternoon. Fred, you might have too, where they canceled their homecoming activities for tomorrow because of all the weather that's coming in. So I guess I wasn't aware that it was going to be that serious. We haven't had any rain, so I guess just rain in and of itself presents issues with flooding. But I thought that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's supposed to be heavy downpours that could lead to potential flooding. Maybe even a tornado or so.
Wow.
Sometime Saturday.
And I think further to the south is more dangerous.
Okay.
The further south you go.
Well, we certainly need the rain. There's no doubt about that. I can do without the storms and all that nonsense. And then we're going to get some temperatures that are just a little bit cooler. And I would say
be
more
so
comfortable.
lovely.
Yeah, it's going to feel like fall for sure, right?
It
Sue, you
is.
ready for it this weekend?
Yeah, actually, I love the rain just when we haven't had it in a while. So I look forward to that tomorrow.
You know what that affords you the chance to do on a Saturday is
what?
no, I'm
Sit
being serious
around.
about it. No, well that too, but like clean the basement or something like that. Just put a
Yeah.
football game out and get things organized. There's plenty of stuff for me to do around inside the house. And then there's always the garage. I do need to do the garage as well. And I suppose if it's raining outside, I can still clean that. I can't, like, if it's raining like that, I just can't sit around. I can for a certain amount of time. Like, we'll get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll put my ass down on the couch. But, like, when I get up in the morning on a weekend, you
got to go.
I have to do something.
Yeah, that's
Now, I'm
interesting.
playing racquetball tomorrow for the first time in a while because I kind of took the summer off. And that's not going to go well. I can tell you right now.
There are going to be muscles used that are going to be very confused.
But see, I have my excuse that's already built in. I literally haven't played in 7 months at this, which is kind of hard to believe. But I mean, April. That's like May, June, July, August, September. Well, 6 months, right? So we'll see how I feel. All right. I don't know how many you guys buy these, but we do buy Uncrustables in my household because Alexa likes them quite a bit. She doesn't like the peanut butter and jelly. She actually likes the ones that are Nutella. Now, these are from Smucker's. You guys are familiar with Uncrustables?
I love Uncrustables.
They're very popular, right? One thing I didn't realize until just a couple of months ago is they're immensely popular in one particular sport. You guys know what it is?
Football.
Yes, in the NFL in particular. They load these NFL teams up. Travis Kelce raves about his Uncrustables. He says he probably doesn't eat anything more than he does Uncrustables. But this is in the news because Smucker's makes Uncrustables, but Trader Joe's has a copycat because Trader Joe's pretty much has a copycat of everything, don't they?
Yeah.
But I guess that one of the things that came out in the lawsuit that was revealed is that Smucker's makes a lot of flipping money from Uncrustables. So they say that they make 1.5 billion Uncrustables a year, and they've invested $1 billion in marketing and product development over the past 20 years.
Product development. Okay, let me tell you something.
There's a good question. Thank you.
Fellas, my name is Jane Duker. I have eaten your product. I love peanut butter. I love jelly. I love them together.
It's dough and peanut butter.
Can help you.
Yes.
Okay, you don't need to pay somebody $1 Brazilian dollars. You could just feed me, and I will do your product development.
But
okay, just saying.
It's interesting, though. So they mentioned in this story, this is in the New York Times, that, Travis Kelce on his podcast said that he probably, more than I eat anything else in the world, you find them at the end of races, like, marathons and stuff like that. So in the lawsuit that was filed this week in the U.S. District Court for Northern District of Ohio, Smucker claimed that the new Trader Joe's crustless peanut butter and strawberry jam sandwiches violate trademarks the company holds for the design of the product and its packaging. In particular, the lawsuit cites the sandwich's shape as a unique design feature protected by the trademark. Now, they have a picture in here, and I'm sorry, I think I said it was in the New York Times. This was in the Washington Post. That you can see both sandwiches side by side. The only difference is that the Smucker's one is in a complete circle, and the Trader Joe's is a little bit more of a square shape.
Ooh.
So they look pretty similar.
You know what else is that shape? Cookie cutters. I mean, come on. Like, you don't get to trademark a circle.
Well, I wonder if they do. Wonder how that trademark reads. What do you think, Jane?
I think it's very difficult because it's something that is so common. I mean, how
But I mean, it looks exactly. I mean,
it's
I
the
don't
same
know.
thing.
But so does the sandwich your mother makes and puts in the lunchbox. You cut off the crust, and I mean,
do they crimp it? I've never actually eaten one.
And
Smucker,
and Pampered Chef
they do.
actually has a stamp that you can. It actually has a cutter that makes those.
Oh, interesting.
When I went on vacation a couple weeks ago to Florida, I was with one of my family's relatives that had a 1-year-old girl, and she loves Uncrustables.
Oh, yeah.
I had never had one because I just figured I can make my own peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Right.
No
You're
need
an
to
adult
buy
person,
it.
yes.
But then once I tried one, it was like, before you knew it, I would have like 4 during the week.
Wait a minute. Is it just because they're convenient and you don't have to stop to make another sandwich? So it's just like,
and they're good.
Alexa likes them, because she'll take one out first thing in the morning when she's getting ready for school, and then she can eat it, because it thaws, right? And then she
all
can
they
eat
do
it.
is freeze them. But you could. I mean, that's why I say it is such an uncomplicated product that I think it's going to be very difficult to claim you have.
Well, here's what they say.
sole
Okay,
purpose,
but here's some particulars from the lawsuit. They say Smucker alleges that consumers can be tricked into thinking that the products are related. It cited online speculation falsely claiming that Smucker is the maker of Trader Joe's product, which might have seemed plausible because the grocer uses other independent manufacturers that are labeled with the grocery private brands. Smucker's claims that Trader Joe's willfully exacerbates the confusion by minimizing or omitting Trader Joe's from its packaging. That's kind of interesting there. They don't really
That's different. I mean, if you are saying, basically, if you're misrepresenting your product, that's very different.
So listen, they did a taste test. Maybe this is something we should do. All right. But here,
I'm
listen.
on it.
The Washington Post. Well, we can
I'm
do
on
this.
it.
But at the Washington Post food team, this is what they say: invited colleagues to try the Uncrustables and the Trader Joe's version side by side without knowing which brand it was. Right.
I'm intrigued.
Okay. Visually, they seem very similar. Several tasters concluded the TJ's sandwich, Trader Joe's, had slightly squared off shape, like I said, but it could pass for a circle if you didn't look too closely, one said. The Uncrustables had that distinct peripheral undulating crimping on both the top and the bottom. Let's see here. Then they say,
which one won?
The dome of I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Right.
The dome of Uncrustables seemed taller, we all agreed, and the bread far softer. The last point was divisive. A couple of tasters liked its smooth, squishy texture and found the Trader Joe's coarser, while one preferred the more natural texture of Trader Joe's. And the Uncrustables had much more pronounced jelly presence than the Trader Joe's, which one thirsty taster called a little gluey. So I guess nutritionally they're very similar when it comes to calories and protein and blah, blah,
Same
blah.
stuff, except Smucker's jam in one.
Well, that's why I think there might be something, to this.
I think there probably is.
We'll have to see. So do you remember, Fred, do you remember my my Smucker's story?
No.
So I'm down in Captiva, and my friend Tim McGowan, who we're staying with, we're going to golf, and he says, yeah, my neighbor's going to golf with us. So Jeff Rainford was down there because he's got a place down there in Fort Myers, and we meet on this. You might remember this is the golf course. It's actually on Sanibel. There's only one golf course, and there was a ginormous alligator that I took a picture of. But so, we do introductions that morning. Hey, Mark, meet Mark. This guy's name was Mark. Oh, that's easy to remember. Jeff, Mark, Jeff, Tim, all this. And then what's your last name? Well, his last name is Smucker. Okay. What do you do for Mark? What do you do for so Jeff and I are in one little golf cart, and Mark and Tim, my friend Tim, are in another, and Jeff and I are kind of putting our heads together, saying, okay, that's it. So at the very same time, Rainford says, what do you do for Smuckers? I Google Mark Smucker, and he's the CEO of the Smucker Company. He's been there since May of 2016.
That's pretty awesome.
I know, it was pretty funny.
I love a good jelly person.
Good dude. So maybe I'll just text Mark Smucker. I do actually have his number and say, what the hell's up with this Trader Joe thing? I need to find out more. But he was a good dude. He really was. We have Sue's News on a Friday afternoon coming up. Paul Hall on entertainment. Frank Cusumano is going to weigh in on a lot of sports this weekend. Fred, as you know, we have Brian Kilmeade on a rare Friday appearance after 5. Dallas Goldtooth, who is he's a Native American actor, actually. He's in this new show called The Last Frontier that has Jason Clarke and Alfre Woodard. I've watched the first half hour of it. Lots of action involved. It's on Apple TV+. And John Pertzborn, who is retiring as of next Wednesday from Fox 2. He's been in this market for 40 years. He'll join us at 5:30.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident eastbound 70 east of Air Flight, and they've got the 2 left lanes blocked. Traffic, of course, is really jammed up behind it. We also have the accident on westbound 6440. This one is past Lindbergh, and they've cleared it off to the right-hand side. So now the 2 right lanes are blocked. Only the 2 left lanes are getting by. Traffic there jams back to 170. Now, we also have just the usual volume. So southbound 55 at Bates, westbound 44, some moderate volume at 141. And out west, westbound 70 has slow pockets from K out through Wentzville, but eastbound is slow approaching Wright City, and it's also a little slow at Wentzville, all due to road work. And 64 is jammed Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. Headed into Illinois, we're fine, but there's a little volume westbound on the bridge, and eastbound 64 between 157 and 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. Sorry, I was looking at something else. On 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sue's News is coming up.
Climate Masters. We specialize in older homes. Climate Masters Heating and Cooling. Trusted heating and cooling installation and maintenance service. Keeping the St. Louis Metro comfortable since 1978. Call us today at 314-968-8383. Climate Masters.
This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. I am excited to announce the opening of Golden Oak Premier Realty. That means we're your one-stop shop for financing and buying your home. One team, one goal, your home. Not moving? Now is still the time. Your home's equity is higher than ever. And with our 4.5% mortgage rate, you could save over $1,000 every month. Use your equity to pay off high-interest credit cards, lower your monthly payment, or even skip 2 months of mortgage payments. And don't forget, if your loan doesn't close, we'll pay for your appraisal. We make the process fast and easy, often getting your cash in as little as 14 days. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing, call Golden Oak today and let us put our 25 years of experience to work for you. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When it comes to roofing, you can't go wrong with Corel Roofing. Mark Cox here. My friend Curtis Corel came out, looked at my roof, worked with my insurance adjuster. I got a new roof, new gutters, and even new screens on some of my windows. Curtis specializes in working with insurance companies. Even if you've been denied, he's often able to work with these insurance adjusters to find a way to get it covered. Here's something else Curtis tells me. With cooler weather coming, you need to be aware of something. Roofs cannot be installed if the temperature dips below 45 degrees. Some companies go ahead and do this anyway, but you're going to have problems down the road. So if you're concerned that your roof won't make it through the winter, call Curtis Corel today. Corel Roofing has crews with over 20 years of experience. They pay attention to detail, and they can work with all the luxury line roofing as well. Call Curtis at 314-222-9529. That's 222-9529. Or on Facebook at Corel Roofing Co.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Hi, I'm Nancy Cartwright. You may know me better as the voice of Bart Simpson. On Simpsons Declassified, we're diving into the mysteries that keep the Simpsons forever young. Have you ever wondered how the Simpsons regularly predicts future events? Who better to ask than the show's creators, performers, and writers, the celebrity guests? Be sure to follow and listen to Simpsons Declassified wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We got Sue's News coming up here on a Friday afternoon. I thought I'd bump in here with a little kiss and shout it out loud because Ace Frehley passed away yesterday. The original lead guitarist, founding member of Kiss, died at the age of 74. He had fallen in his studio and had a head injury. But that's kind of the sad news that came out rock and roll-wise yesterday. But let's get to this on a Friday.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News, presented by U.S. Men's Medical Center.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think we're all looking forward to rain tomorrow. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Fred, what are you going to do? How are you celebrating our rain, Fred?
I'm going to make sure the roof isn't leaking. I think that's what I'll do.
That's good.
There we go. What about you, Mark? Oh, you're going to clean. You cannot
I'm gonna
sit
do
still.
Stuff around the house. No, I tell you, I got racquetball in the morning, and then I'm going to clean the house and do some stuff and play with the puppy since he can't go to puppy daycare because he's got these stupid puppy warts, whatever. Have you ever heard of that, Jane?
No.
He's got these little wart things that are, it's like a virus, and he can't be around the other dogs at daycare.
Oh.
Poor little guy.
Bring
he's
the baby
fine.
to my house.
Okay. Well, he's fine, and it's not stopping him from eating, but yeah, I'll have to give him a little attention tomorrow.
Aw. Yeah. Well, happy National Pasta Day.
Woo!
You're welcome. And it's also National Mulligan Day. Thank you.
Wow.
Who has ever done trivia without a mulligan? Anyone?
Well, golf.
Who has ever played a round of golf without a mulligan?
Right. So, wow, and they got their own day now.
But you're right, Sue. There's mulligans that you buy for trivia nights as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And National, well, I think that's pretty much it. Wait, there was one more. Oh, National Black Poetry Day. So if you'd like to read some of that tonight, have at it. Now, 123 years ago today, in 1902, the very first Cadillac was completed in Detroit.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool? That was 123 years ago today. And there's some music for this one, Mark, because on this day in history, 55 years ago in 1970, this song hit number 1. Oh, kinda?
Great
What
song.
happened?
I don't know what happened there either. It started twice. That was not me. I apologize. But
Well,
is this the one I was supposed to play? All right.
Yeah. This is Jackson 5.
In fairness, there was another song in here, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
So this is the number 1.
Yep, in 1970, Jackson 5 hit number 1 on the pop singles chart, and it stayed there for 5 weeks.
That's really
that
significant
really
considering
is.
the amount of music that was coming out in that era. Yeah.
And then, just as a throwback to all of us in this room from the 80s, I bring to you 38 years ago in 1987 when this song hit number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Can you read?
I can't believe this was the number 1. I do.
I know. Jane, what have you got?
Lisa and the Cult Jam.
That's
Remember this?
right, baby.
Wow. That is
Lost in
quintessential.
Emotion.
Yes.
Well picked.
This is kind of a catchy song, though. I have not heard this one in a long time.
Neither.
Oh, guess who's going to download
There you go.
it? What a hot mess. I love
Right?
it.
That was 1987.
God, this is going to get stuck in our heads, I think, unfortunately. That's
know why it
a
makes me
throwback
laugh.
for sure.
Yes.
I don't think I've heard
1987.
that song since 1987, if I'm being honest.
Well, yeah. Lisa and Colt Jam didn't take much after that.
No.
But yeah, that's number 1. So just those few years, the 17 years between Jackson 5 and then this was number 1.
And was Lisa
in
on there for like
87.
1 week, probably?
Yeah, they don't say how long. So that must not be
I'm guessing it wasn't a
impressive.
long streak.
Well, we've got Halloween approaching.
Yes, we do.
And Jane, are you the one who likes candy corn?
Yes,
Yeah.
she is.
We
like,
have
when you say
something,
the
yeah.
one, you mean
The
the one.
The
like,
only
only
one in the whole state?
Yes.
Okay, well, good.
Yes.
Then leave it all for me and leave my candy corn
Well,
alone.
every year I like to put. This is what Louis Black, the comedian,
Yes, he's
his
so
bit
funny.
on candy corn.
Candy corn, they're using the word candy to describe it, is wrong. Using the word corn is wrong. It does not taste like candy nor corn. It tastes like something that was made out of oil. You could take all the bags of candy corn, and actually, if you melted them down, you could run a car. All the candy corn that was ever made was made in 1914. They never had to make it again. We never eat enough of it. We only eat 2 or 3 or 4 pieces apiece. Literally after Halloween, the candy corn companies send out their minions. And they go from garbage can to garbage can and collect the corn and throw it back in the bags. And it appears next year.
I don't think he's wrong about any of that.
There is some truth to some of that.
Yeah, there is.
Now, if you take a jar and you put candy corn, M&Ms, and peanuts, okay, and you mix it all up.
Okay.
And then you take a handful and it tastes like a Snickers.
Oh, all right.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's a
I'm
Halloween
not.
thing. I'm bringing it in for you.
Okay, here's what I'd tell you. You could put the M&Ms and the peanuts together and skip the candy corn. It's going to taste better. All right, that's what I'll tell you. It's also going to taste like Snickers, but a better Snickers.
That may be true as well.
Or just a Snickers. However, that defeats it.
Or just a Snickers would also work.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
also
Or
works.
you could just buy Snickers. All right. Keanu Reeves was told to go by a different name at the start of his career. When he arrived in L.A. at 20 years old, his management said, he can't be Keanu Reeves. What is that? So he said, quote, "My middle name is Charles." So I was like, I don't know, Chuck. And I grew up on the street called Spadina. Therefore, I thought I'd call myself Chuck Spadina. What?
I mean,
what? And then I was something Templeton. So then finally they landed on KC Reeves, and I was credited as KC Reeves. And then I couldn't do it. So then I would be on auditions, and they'd be like, KC Reeves, and I wouldn't even answer. So 6 months later, I was like, I'm not doing this. That is my Hollywood moment. I just went back to Keanu Reeves. What would he be as KC Reeves, or even worse, Chuck Spadina? Oh
Sounds
my
like a
gosh, it
DJ.
just cracks
What about
me
Chuck
up.
it sounds like a serial killer.
It does.
So,
Yeah,
no, Keanu Reeves, I mean, and by the way, probably one of the nicest human beings on the
Yes.
planet.
Yes.
And, I mean, just how generous he is and how humble he is and how kind he is to everyone.
He has a girlfriend who's his own age.
I know. What a
Yes,
concept,
it's
right?
An extra thing. Yeah.
That's historic in Hollywood, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
He is age appropriate. It's really phenomenal.
Well, the only time he was credited as KC Reeves was in a made-for-TV film called The Magical World of Disney. No, sorry, that was who made it. It was called Young Again, and that was in 1986, before Bill and Ted's Adventure. Yes. So, yeah, I just like that bit on the candy corn as well. Now, in Halloween news, Popular Science did a deep dive into how corn mazes are made. Okay, really? Because it's just mowing. Why we?
Right.
How complicated
I'm sure
is it?
We're paying for that.
Like, we kind of get that.
It used to be simple, just cut a path, but now apparently a lot of farmers use GPS to do it. You can do more complicated ones. There's even tech that tells tractors where not to plant seeds. And there's no cutting. The path is there automatically, and a lot of people just go for that.
It's amazing. What was it, Fred? 7, 8 years ago, maybe even more than that. I mentioned even earlier on the show that I worked on a farm when I was a kid, but I was never there during the harvest because I was working in the summer. So I'd never really been in a combine when they were harvesting. So I went up, and I can't remember which the company was up there off 55, and I went and I got to drive it.
Okay, that's really cool.
But what was cool about it is that's where I learned. I had no idea that essentially, and I think corn, they told me, is a little bit more complicated, but with soybeans, you can just press a button, that thing goes back and forth, and it's all automatic with GPS. Yeah,
I had no idea.
Now, that was a while ago, so now it's probably even more advanced.
Well,
Because I'm
that's
telling you,
true.
that was about 8 years ago.
Up until this point, those corn mazes kind of mystified me.
Really? Yeah,
I
well,
didn't
how to
think
get
they were
out?
supernaturally done, but
What did you think?
Have you ever been in one?
well, a maze like where you walk
Right.
through.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking about the things.
You
where they
thinking about the
just show
crop
up-
circles and
Yeah,
stuff?
crop
Oh,
circles
yeah.
and
okay.
stuff.
No, we're talking about the
corn
Halloween.
mazes are fun over
Yeah.
at Eckerd's.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
Totally
got fun
cool.
ones.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun.
And you go to Hawaii and you go to the Dole maze, where the pineapple maze. It's the same thing,
Oh,
but it's
that's
the pineapple
interesting.
field, and that's pretty cool.
Well, BuzzFeed has asked readers about their experience waiting on celebrities. They went out and interviewed some waiters and waitresses. And here are some that said they tipped well. Jane, for you, number one was Elvis.
Yes.
Elvis-
He loved tipping people.
He
was
loved
so
tipping.
kind.
He left
Yes.
$5,000 plus a large tip, and that was early days.
I
Also
love him.
good was Bruce Willis, Joe Rogan, Steve Carell, and Carlos Santana. And here's who tipped poorly: Jennifer Lopez, Scottie Pippen. He did not leave a tip. At the moment, I came up with the nickname No Tippin' Pippen.
All right. And he deserves that.
And finally, in Sue's News, we have today's random fact. People who work in offices without windows sleep an average of 46 minutes less per night than people in offices with windows. So if you have a windowless office, you get 46 minutes less sleep per night
Wow.
than
I'm
someone who does.
Glad we have windows here at
Yes,
Odyssey St. Louis. There you go. Paul Hall on entertainment. Coming up, we'll go out with Ace Frehley and Kiss.
I'm Chad Robinson with Your Money Now. President Trump is announcing 2 new efforts to expand availability of in vitro fertilization. It includes a deal with Germany's Merck to slash the price of some of the company's fertility medicines in exchange for relief from planned tariffs on pharmaceuticals imported into the U.S. Data shows the cost of a single round of IVF can cost roughly $20,000 or more per cycle. Meanwhile, Americans' views on the economy soured further in the third quarter, with deepening concerns about jobs and inflation, according to the CNBC All-America Economic Survey. Those sentiments, coupled with blame for the ongoing government shutdown, has the president's net approval rating on the economy at 42%. On Wall Street, stocks were higher, with the three major averages all gaining more than half a percentage point. Crude oil futures up slightly. They're under 58 a barrel. That's your money now.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code COOL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Okay, thanks for that. If you are thinking about retirement and you've started to think, boy, this is coming up quickly, and I'm not sure that I'm prepared, do I know that I have all the information I need? Listen, if you do not have a written retirement plan, you don't have all the information you need. So what you need to do is get with some experts. And that's why I like financial and tax architects. Not only are they experts, but they like to teach people how things work. In fact, what they do is offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class. It's called Retirement Planning 101. And you can sit in there and learn what you're going to be facing in retirement. And then if you like them, which you will, you can just sit down with them and have them come up with that written plan for you. They will review everything you've got. Think about your values, what you want to do in retirement, and get it done. So just go to their website, F as in Frank, FTA-RIA.com. Sign up for a class and go from there. Just doing that will make you feel so much better.
Accidents can happen in the blink of an eye, especially in a busy city like St. Louis. Whether you're a rideshare driver or passenger, injuries can leave you feeling lost, confused, and unsure of where to turn. At Kaufman Townsley, we understand. We're from here. We live in St. Louis, and we know what it takes to fight for the rights of our neighbors. We're here to help you through the difficult time with the experience and care you deserve. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Lights flickering?
Grasser can fix it.
Breaker keeps tripping?
That's a Grasser job.
Outlet not working?
Grasser makes it right.
Old wiring need a rewire?
Grasser rewires with care.
From little fixes to major fixes.
Even the tricky ones.
We treat your home like our own.
Treat? Did you say treat?
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
4:33. This portion of the show sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Frank Cusumano from KSDK coming up. We'll talk sports in approximately 13 minutes. Paul Hall from Common Guy Films to talk a little entertainment with us on this Friday afternoon. How are you up there in Milwaukee, where it looks like you guys are going to get swept by the Dodgers, unfortunately?
I'm good. If you covered that, you've covered at least that with Frank, and you don't even have to talk about it. I don't think it's a good night. Jose Quintana going tonight for a chance to stop the sweep, shall we say.
Well, good luck on that. Before we get into new stuff and what might be out there, Fred's been dying to talk about Catfish Unknown Number because we've been raving about it for like a month, and Fred finally took time to watch it, right?
I did. I watched it last Friday night. And it was surprising. But let me say, if you go into it, though, knowing there's a surprise at the end, you're all of a sudden thinking, who's the least
You're starting to
likely?
guess, right? You're trying to play the,
But it still was surprising.
Right.
And
once you heard
disturbing.
it.
Yeah.
And it just made me wonder how they put that whole thing together with the interviews that they were doing. It was just really curious.
You mean the structure of the documentary?
Yeah, right.
Well, because they keep you guessing. And again, even for me, I knew, but it was still compelling. I mean, I still think it's worth watching, even though, so if you do, but our recommendation on that one, Paul, would be like, if you don't know what really happens in that story, don't Google it and find out, because you're going to be, you'll coming across it will be a little bit better if it's a surprise. I did not get a chance to watch the John Candy doc. I really, really want to watch that. And then, all right, so let's segue into documentaries, because the big one, I guess, this week on Netflix finally opens, right?
Yes, it does.
Perfect neighbor. Here we go.
911 dad just took the emergency. Are you having problems with the neighbor's children?
Hello, Sheriff's Office. Were any of you guys over here messing with this lady?
No. We were playing football.
So the hook, the way I understand it, is all of this is sort of cobbled together from body camera and dash cam camera. Is that true?
Right. Body cam, dash cam, and or audio recorded. Sometimes they have audio, like a tape recording of a conversation that was had, where they have to just kind of put generic pictures in the background. But this is all those footage brought together to tell a story of two neighbors. Actually, one neighbor and the rest of the neighborhood. One neighbor is constantly calling the police, constantly upset with the kids in the neighborhood coming to her yard. Claims definitely things are going on. They're tormenting her. They're doing things to her. The other neighbors are like, she's just a big Karen, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And it's the police keep coming out until tragedy strikes. And of course, something bad happens. That then turns into a discussion on many other issues, including stand your ground laws and whether they're applicable in something like this. You have to kind of go through the whole thing and find out, is everyone here telling the truth? Is everyone here telling, a story that favors things their way? But the thing about it is director Gita Ganbar basically is able to tell a story that even when you think you know where this is going, you go, I don't know. Now, do I really believe that or not? Oh, I saw this piece of footage makes me go, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong in what I assumed all along. Maybe you aren't. It's definitely one of the best documentaries of the year by far. I love this a lot. I know it's not doing well on IMDb because there's a charge out against it, but quite frankly, it is definitely one of the best you will spend time with in the documentary realm.
What do you mean it's not doing well on IMDb? With the ratings there, you mean? They're...
Yeah, user reviews are running about 7.3, which seems to be a little low when it comes to this type of thing, especially one that just got a nomination for Best Feature Documentary from us at the Critics' Choice. We announced our documentary awards this week, or our nominees, I should say, was second in nominations with 6. It's definitely something that I know I've talked to some of my colleagues in the organization, and we all found ourselves compelled by the whole thing straight through.
What's it called?
And it's called The Perfect Neighbor.
Netflix.
And it's over on Netflix.
This is just a documentary. It's not an episodic documentary, right? It's just one movie.
Yeah, this is a quick one. So you know, documentaries you have either the long, stretched out ones, or something like this, which is simply one feature film, runs about an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half. But it's all, like you said, it's all real footage, so you can judge for yourself what you see. Obviously, there's a perspective from the director that put it together, but you can judge for yourself.
Well, what was the knock on it? Why do you think that the scorers? What was some of the predominant issue?
Well, so I was reading some of the comments over on IMDb from people who watched it, and they don't like the fact that the director may have had one of the individuals that they knew going in, and may have tried to skew, in their mind, footage one way or another of what they present. You can't skew the footage. The footage is the footage one way or another. How you put it together, you can skew things, of course. So.
Interesting. I'll watch it.
I think it's worth checking out. And not only from the standpoint of kind of battles, and we've all had neighbors like this that we have disagreements with. Growing up, I remember having a neighbor who would yell every time our ball would go into her yard, and she'd come out and grab it and pull it away. She was just a grump, for lack of a better word. but you also learn not to antagonize the grump wherever you could. She's long past, so I can say this out loud, but quite frankly, we've all had those people.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those disputes that goes way too far before it's all said and done.
Wow. Okay.
What else you got for this weekend?
We got another new doc over on Max, the Alabama Solution. This goes back to the crisis within the Alabama prison system. The incarcerated folks down there struck back or fought back against some really deadly prison experiences for the inmates there. Whether you think they belong there or not, they're obviously humans, and human decency this is something you're not going to find an easy time watching. They have some video in here from inside the system. They broke the rules to get cameras inside, and they shot some of the things that went on in the prison system, including the results with some of the beatings that some of the inmates took. This is an amazing documentary. A name you would know, Mark, Andrew Jarecki is the guy behind it. You know he's going to give you a lot of interesting and compelling information. Like it or not, the Alabama Solution is one of those where you just scratch your head and wonder how that can happen in America.
Oh, wow. I did see it up there.
And
you said that one's on Max, right, on HBO?
That one's over on Max.
Yeah.
And the last one I got to mention before we get through our documentaries here is Mr. Scorsese over on Apple TV+. It's 5 episodes, about 5 hours in total of documentary on Martin Scorsese. You'll find out things from Scorsese's history you never knew. You'll fall more in love with him as an individual. I adore Martin Scorsese when it comes to film. This just enhanced that 100 times, including you get to see commentary. One of the things I thought right off the bat that was pretty compelling, within the first 2 episodes, you meet one of the characters who, you go back to Mean Streets, one of Scorsese's first films. Johnny Boy, played by De Niro, was based on this guy, and this guy is a guy who blew up a mailbox. This guy is a guy who did some things that he doesn't want to talk about even on camera today, and he's your typical guy that you would imagine some of these characters to be based on. So just great stuff to get behind the scenes of a genius as far as I'm concerned.
5.5 hours for a story on him seems about right because his movies last about that long, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not a surprise on that. All right, so I got to talk about a show that I'm a little surprised that I like, but I've been into it, and it's coming out weekly. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know, Jane, if you've watched it because I think you might like it. Have you checked out Chad Powers? Which is
no, but
with Glenn
I just
Powell.
put it on my list, and I've heard people really like it.
I like it a lot. So this is the story of a disgraced college football quarterback who competed in the National Football Championship. Glenn Powell plays him, and he just has, just for lack of a better term, he just has a complete meltdown. Something really bad happens in the National Championship game, and he has to kind of go into hiding. And then there's a team in Louisiana, the Catfish, right? Right, Paul? And they need a quarterback, and they're doing open auditions. That's the gimmick, right? So his dad is a Hollywood makeup artist, like a really good Hollywood makeup and prosthetic artist. So he basically steals his dad's stuff, goes to try out as a new quarterback with the makeup on. Now, that's all I'll tell you about the story. But I really like it. I mean, Glenn Powell plays both characters. Obviously, there's a woman by the name of Perry Matfield who plays one of the assistant coaches. She's actually the daughter of Steve Zahn, who plays the head coach. And there's a lot of charm here. There's a lot of
that's what I've heard. That
you
go along with the premise.
I thought I was going to say, this is not going to work. And it's based on something that Eli Manning did in a reality show. And he's an executive producer here. But I like it, Paul. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty funny.
I can confirm that that was not Chad Powers on the field during the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game yesterday. That really was Joe Flacco, not Chad Powers. But
let me tell you,
he was considered for the role, you know.
No kidding. Joe Flacco game last night. Both those quarterbacks look great. Tell folks where they can find your reviews.
Hey, it's simple. CommonGuy.com, and you go there now for the next couple days. Paramount Home Entertainment gave me a complete series of Beverly Hills 90210 that comes out this week on digital. So you can get this emailed to you potentially. I'm going to give away one winner later this weekend or later this week. That was a show that was my youth when I was in my 20-somethings. I'd come back from college and want to see something. It was Beverly Hills 90210.
Never really watched it myself.
Oh, I was a big
Did you watch
fan,
it, Fred?
Paul. Oh yeah,
really?
I love that.
Did you really,
Yeah.
Sue?
No. The layers of the Fred Bottomer onion continue.
Yeah.
The layers of the
Brenda
onion.
Dillon.
90210.
I would not have had Fred.
We made fun of people who watch 90210.
I would not have had Fred Bottomer as a 90210 fan
That's
on my
kinda
bingo
beautiful.
card. All right, Paul. God bless the Brewers for probably getting swept, unfortunately. We were rooting for them.
Hey, you know, next year comes along, but it's another early exit, unfortunately, from what they should be.
Well, at least you're over 500.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, it's really not a bad commute for a Friday afternoon. We do have a little bit of volume westbound 70 at Jennings Station Road. Past the airport, eastbound moderate volume 2 as you head for 270. And then it's slow again moderate, just a K, and then in pockets out past Wentzville. You know, if you are eastbound on 70, it's a moderate go, but slowing between Wright City and the Wentzville area. 6440 is jammed, but it's just Clayton Skinker on out through the inner belt, eastbound slowing at Big Bend. And westbound doesn't really slow again until Highway N out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, just moderate volume at Ladue Road. On the Illinois side, some volume, though. Eastbound 40 between 157 and 159. I should say 64 over there. This report brought to you by The Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Let me get you thinking about a bathroom project with Michael's Baths, because first and foremost, they have a great offer for you as a 97.1 FM Talk listener, a free shower door or $500 off your project right now when you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk. They have lifetime warranty on all their products. They have all American-made products. They can get you the product. They can install it. Mike Gowers, the owner of Michael's Baths, his daughter Melody will handle your call and set up the job. And whether you want a walk-in shower, maybe better storage, a fresh modern look to make it maybe a safer shower for maybe some folks who are getting older, mom and dad, or whatever the situation might be. But this is family owned and operating. This, all they do is baths. 5-star reviews. They have 30-plus years of experience, and they'll come in 30 to 50% lower on their estimates. Go get some other estimates. Then call Michael's at 636-775-0800. See where they come in with at least as good a quality, if not better. michaelsbaths.com. Don't forget about the $500 off or the free shower door with Michael's Baths.
Join us October 23rd at Lit Cigar Lounge and celebrate 25 years with drinks from Lore Wine and Spirits, Old Dominic Distillery, and Rayburn Wines, plus live music by Pretty Weeds and food from Napoli Bros. Reservations at 971talk.com. Presented by Rhino Shield and U.S. Men's Medical Center.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. You can take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleanings. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the saving.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Hey, St. Louis, how would you like to see if you, your family, or employees qualify for a health insurance plan that has open enrollment year-round? Bill Pauly and his team at the Pauly Agency put the sure in insurance. Call to set an appointment at 636-222-2149. That's 636-222-2149.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
Fast-paced, fact-based, and never boring. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
Jane Dicker hanging out here on a Friday afternoon after she was off for a couple of weeks doing some international travel. And I do thank you for taking time to accept my text message, which probably arrived in the middle of the night when I was all panicked about my Apple Jacks Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I mean, I was relaxing.
That was a crisis, Jane.
And
it really is.
the ding, 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 and I'm like, oh my! And you said crisis, so
and I even said,
jumped.
I don't care where you are in the world.
Yeah.
This needs attention.
And
Frank,
you know what I did? I went online and I got them.
God bless you. God bless you. They'll be
I'm a
delivered
good
any day
friend.
now. Frank Cusumano is with us this afternoon. Where do we start? There's lots of sports going on. Let's talk about that football game last night. Holy moly. You had two quarterbacks who are over the age of 40 that looked like they were playing in their prime, Frank.
Yeah, look, I'm not shocked about Aaron Rodgers, who's looked pretty good all season long. But for Joe Flacco to make those throws, really good. And it's a nice luxury when you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. He targeted Jamar Chase 20 times last night.
I know.
I don't know if that's ever happened in history. That is insane, but it was great to see Flacco look good.
Well, it was smart, and they had a rhythm, going there. And did you see the video, Ethan? Have you seen this video today where Rodgers hits Freiermuth on that one big touchdown, and then one of the offensive linemen sort of jumps on Aaron and knocks him down and falls on him, and then Rodgers gets up and he's pissed about it. He's like yelling at him for knocking him down. That might be the most entertaining thing I've seen. The Milwaukee Brewers don't appear to be heading toward the World Series, Frank, do they?
No, and it's a shame. And I'm not just saying this because I know you're a Brewers guy. I mean, rooting for the Dodgers is like rooting for Elon Musk to make more money. Like in this series, they've thrown three guys with a combined payroll of over $650 million. Wow. It's insane. So good for them. We're real happy for you, Dodgers. You spend more than anybody, like $220 million more than the Brewers. So you're going to win the series and you'll move on. But you never know what could happen in this next series, because I thought the most interesting thing in sports last night was 41-year-old Max Scherzer, the Parkway Central grad, somehow turning back the clock, throwing a ball 96 miles an hour, 5 2/3, 5 Ks. I mean, it wasn't a dominating performance, but when the manager, John Schneider, decided to, wanted to come out and take him out, Max said, no way, get the hell out of here. And when I think about this, I contrast this with Sonny Gray, who tells his manager after 4 innings, can I come out, please? And he's 35. So Max is one of the great all-time competitors. He's the greatest pitcher ever from St. Louis, with apologies to Mark Burley and Jerry Royce, but he's a Hall of Famer. He's something else.
Frank, this past week, we finally, we'd heard rumors about it. We finally saw Yadier Molina take to social media saying that he was interested in officially getting into coaching, managing, whether it be in the majors, in the Mexican League, wherever it may be. How are you taking all of this in? What does anything here in your mind make sense for the Cardinals, or do you think that they'll steer clear?
Well, I'm probably going to be wrong on this because I've been saying this for a while. When you've made $167 million and you are a first ballot Hall of Famer likely, I just can't picture you in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at 11:30 a.m. on a 7 o'clock game hitting fungos. I just can't. But if he loves the game that much, and this is to be a coach. Now maybe with Albert and the Angels being a manager, even though he has no chance to win, that's a little more plausible. But to be a coach and make $150,000, which is great for almost all of us, but not for a guy with $167 million, I don't understand it.
What do you think of it? Look, there was all this hype last week. I did end up going to the game. It was a compelling game. They played crappy. Alabama shouldn't have won the game, but they did. They did play better. But now we got to go to Auburn, and, there's this assumption because, Mizzou's pretty good. Auburn's not so great. But it's a road game, and it's really the first road game, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't count the 11 a.m. scrimmage, intra-squad scrimmage at Lindenwood in August like they've been saying all week, okay? It is. And I tell you, the implications of this game, Mark, are really, really significant. Because if Auburn were to lose this game, Hugh Freeze would be 0-4 in the SEC. He could be fired on Monday.
Yeah.
If the Missouri Tigers lose this game, they could be out of the college football playoff by 9:45. Because I can't anticipate them going 5-0 with that daunting schedule down the stretch. So this is a huge game, but Mizzou's got dudes, but so does Auburn. I think Auburn should have been up 17-0 on Georgia. It was a one-score game in their other top 25 losses. So they're a fine team. They just have been unlucky, and they've been just come up a little short.
So the Blues are at home tomorrow night. City's at home as well. They got their final game, so a busy weekend downtown. Not to mention high school bands competing at the Dome, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Blues game's interesting because they've had these just colossal failures where they've been outscored 13-3 in their 2 home games. They made a couple of line changes, and Logan Mayu, their promising young defenseman, is going to watch the game from the press box. Coach Montgomery says sometimes you can learn some things from the press box, so he's clearly sending a message. I'm not worried about the Blues. They're 2-2. I think they'll come out and play well Saturday.
All right. Well, listen, Frank, what's coming up on Sunday night? What do you got scheduled?
Okay, we've got an interesting program. Gary Kasparov is arguably the greatest chess player in the world. We're going to have his fascinating story. He's also a fearless critic and feared for his life for his criticism of Vladimir Putin. Ron Jacober is going to rehash one of the most famous interviews in Channel 5 history. This is the month that Harry Carey got fired. We actually went to the Old Bushes Grove, which is now a spa, to do the interview with 2 Schlitz cans of beer in the background. And then we have one other really cool thing, which I can't think of it. Oh, Cam Jansen in studio talking Blues hockey.
There you go.
Cool.
You got it in there. Have a great weekend. We'll talk on Monday.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Jane, you have a great weekend, too.
I will.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads tonight, we've had a couple of incidents out there, but right now we look good. Now, there's some volume on 70 in both directions at Jennings Station Road, a little bit westbound past the airport, but then it really doesn't line up again until Highway A. Moderate volume eastbound, though, east of Wright City through Wentzville. Now, 6440 has more volume. It's Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound slowing on either side of the inner belt. Westbound slowing again, but just at Boone's Crossing, and then Highway N out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, really just moderate volume at Ladue Road, and that's it. 55 isn't bad. On the Illinois side, we look fine on the bridges, but eastbound 64 is slowing between 157 and 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Climate Masters. We specialize in older homes. Climate Masters Heating and Cooling. Trusted heating and cooling installation and maintenance service. Keeping the St. Louis Metro comfortable since 1978. Call us today at 314-968-8383. Climate Masters.
Let's go from Climate Masters to Master Cars, Inc. in Granite City. They are a great sponsor. I've known these guys for more than 10 years now. And I remember the first time I met him, it was in the spring probably of 2015. And I met Alex and Gary, father and son team, and I got to know what they were all about in Granite City. New car caliber, but used cars. And I knew right then and there that at the end of that year, that was when I was kind of targeting to get a new vehicle and trade the one in that I had. So I went through MasterCars, and I was looking at a car that was a little pricey at the time, and I thought, let's not buy new. Let's go with what they have available. They didn't have it on the lot, of course, but I said, see if you can find this car with 5,000 to 7,000 to 8,000 miles. We found it, I think, with like 6,500 miles on it. It looked like new. I had that car for many years and then got another one through MasterCars, Inc. So they can source you a vehicle, and they do exceptionally well in that particular area. But they have a lot on the lot. They specialize in Harleys and all kinds of motorcycles, classic cars, Corvettes. Master Cars, Inc. They're in Granite City. Tell them that you heard about it here on 97.1 FM Talk. It's a completely different car buying experience. Once you try Master Cars, Inc., you won't go back. MasterCarsInc.com.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Looking for some iced caffeine, left you in the cold. No one knows why brown water costs as much as liquid gold. Told him your name was Brian, why does this cup say Nicole? But then you found paradise in your cup at the Quick Trip. No regrets to start your day.
This is Kyle Bush with Crinch Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. Life changes, divorce, loss of a loved one, or an inheritance. It can be overwhelming. We provide the resources, long-standing support, and thoughtful guidance you need to plan ahead. With our help and experience, you don't have to navigate these transitions alone. You can move forward with greater clarity and confidence. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Servicing. Member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
To make a deal. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's what President Trump says. He told Russian President Vladimir Putin in a phone call yesterday, where the two agreed to meet in Hungary later this month. Today, he hosted Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who has asked for long-range missiles to aid in its battle with Russia.
Would much rather have them not need tomahawks. Would much rather have the war be over.
After the meeting ended, Zelensky said it was productive, but admitted the president is hesitant to give Ukraine the missiles.
We decided that we don't speak about it because nobody wants, United States doesn't want escalation.
Zelensky says the two also spoke about security guarantees for Ukraine. The Israeli military has received the remains of another hostage to be returned from Gaza. This as Hamas says it will not commit to disarm.
This directly clashes with President Trump's peace plan. And just yesterday, President Trump said that if they do not disarm, the U.S. will have no choice but to go in, use his words, and kill them. But he also made clear that any renewed action in Gaza would come from regional powers, not the U.S.
Fox's Benjamin Hall. Hamas had said yesterday it would take longer than expected to retrieve the bodies of hostages, some of which are in tunnels that it says were destroyed by Israel. The Trump administration has asked the Supreme Court to allow the deployment of National Guard troops in the Chicago area. The emergency appeal coming after a lower court judge paused for at least 2 weeks the deployment of Guard members from Illinois and Texas to help immigration enforcement. A federal appeals court refused to put that order on hold. A federal judge in Oregon has also temporarily blocked the deployment of National Guard troops there. Wall Street with its best week in 2 months. The Dow gained 238, the Nasdaq plus 117, the S&P up 34. America is listening to Fox News.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
All is quiet with our weather on this Friday evening. Partly cloudy skies. We might see a shower towards morning, but the evening is dry for any plans you may have, including the Friday night football game. 65 for the low. Saturday, still wet, still unsettled, still kind of stormy. Periods of rain and some thunderstorms around with heavy downpours, possibility of hail and gusty winds, but that's not for everybody. Windy and 78. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we are loaded up for this hour. I'd like to have a little bit of fun, maybe some lighter topics. We're not going to start lighter, but I will tell you that Dallas Goldtooth is going to swing by. He's an actor, Native American actor, who is in a show on Apple TV Plus. I've watched a portion of the pilot. The Last Frontier with Jason Clarke and Alfre Woodard's got a good cast. He's in town to promote the show. I think Dallas lives in Chicago, which is one of the reasons he's kind of doing a Midwest swing. John Pertzborn, who's become a friend over the years, Fox 2 anchor, is retiring next Wednesday. I thought it'd be nice to have John on because he's a fan of this show. I'm a fan of him and what he's done. He's got some Wisconsin ties, so he connected with me real early when I was in the market because he knew that I was up in Milwaukee. By the way, to qualify something that Frank said, he said, I know you're a Brewers guy. Let's clarify that and be very, very clear. I spent 9.5 years working for the Brewers flagship. My wife is a Milwaukee native. And yes, I will root for the Brewers when the Cardinals are not involved. But I am a Cardinals fan first and foremost. I'm not walking around with Brewers gear around St. Louis. I just want to make sure that my daughter, however, does wear a little bit of Brewers gear. I have no control. That's my wife's influence. But no. But I mean, I can root for the Crew because I love the story. It's a smaller market. They've never won a World Series, mainly thanks to the Cardinals dashing their hopes all those years ago. Anyway, Dallas is coming. John Pertzborn plus an audio cut of the day. And even though I kind of lied and said we go light on Fridays at 5, we're not going to today because Brian Kilmeade is with us. We had a big meeting with Trump and Zelensky earlier today. A lot of things going on because of the shutdown. We're going to catch up on all of this. Brian, how are you this afternoon?
All good. How are you?
Good. What'd you think of the meeting with Zelensky and Trump this morning? Obviously, Zelensky looks like he wants those Tomahawk missiles. Trump maybe not ruling it out, but he didn't hand them over today, did he? And he still wants negotiations with Putin and Zelensky, but he admitted these two guys don't like each other very much. That might be an understatement.
Yeah, I just don't see. What I'm most encouraged about is he's going to send Rubio to meet with Lavrov. That's what I'm most encouraged about because that's the guy that understands who Lavrov is. Not Steve Witkoff, who is a great person, fantastic, loyal friend, but it goes, hey, you seem nice, speak good English. He's going to know exactly who Lavrov is, a longest-serving servant who really wants to reestablish the Soviet Empire, just like Putin does. So, and when the guy's lying is when he's talking. They got to be forced to do something with Russia, and it's only through strength that they'll understand that. And the Tomahawk missiles, they knew it would do such damage to the infrastructure that they had to call. And he had a 2.5-hour conversation with Trump. I talked to Trump this morning, and I said, do you think that he is just stringing you out to delay this a little bit more so we could do some more damage because he keeps bombing? And he said, Brian, look, I'll give time to save lives.
Right.
And he could try to make me look bad. But I'll have control of this whole situation. It's just when we do it. So if I'm him, I would have the Senate vote and pass the massive sanctions. I'd say leave it on my desk. And then I would deliver the Tomahawks to Zelensky and said, can't use unless I tell you. And then I would go meet in Hungary. And I would have some guarantees that Rubio will get from Lavrov or they're not going to have the meeting. Evidently, Witkoff had a back channel to this meeting. And in Alaska, and the back channel says Putin's ready to deal, and they trusted it. And evidently, the word was the back channel was lied to. So I don't know if I believe that, but that's what.
Well, because I heard that's interesting. One of the things that I heard him repeat several times when he was doing the Q&A with Zelensky here just, a couple hours ago was that he said Putin wants a deal. I think Putin wants a deal. So he's confident. Obviously, he's bolstered by what happened earlier this week with the hostages being released, but you can just kind of hear it in his voice. He wants this thing to start moving around. I mean, this was still a couple of months ago when, he and Putin met. So they want to get some things going here, but it seems to be the ball is in Vladimir Putin's court completely right now.
He's totally untrustworthy, and he's losing a lot. And the president mentioned to me, he goes, believe it or not, the thing that's going to move him, he wants to transition out of this economy. And I told him about the trade opportunities that I would give him, and he wants it over. And I go, really? And he goes, Brian, if he's not, we have things we can do. So my thing is he's trying to upend this meeting with Zelensky because NATO had meetings, NATO made their purchases through Ukraine. Ukraine says this is the missile defense we need. It's not going to be hodgepodge. This is what we hope to accomplish. And with that, this is the most organized Friday meeting. But out of nowhere, word comes out that Putin wants to talk. Trump talks for 2.5 hours. So he's smart about doing it. But even I can tell. I'm pretty sure I got to check my resume again. I don't have KGB training, but I could tell what he's up to.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I'm not. I don't want to insult the president. I just said, Mr. President, my feeling is he just wants to delay your decisions. He wants to, he wants to give you a gray area, and he knows that you want to knock this off. of your agenda. But I just think how it ends will decide when it starts again. And he said, his quote to me was, I'm closer to you, your school of thought, than you know. I go, wow, okay. And then I just talked to General Keane. So there's no two better people to talk to about a conflict that matters so much to our national security. Now, people are listening to us right now who are conservative and are listening to certain podcasts. And they're saying they totally disagree, that it's Ukraine's fault, that this really should be part of Russia, and that Vladimir Putin's being reasonable and the West gave him no choice. I have no patience for those people because they're 100% wrong, and I expect more from them. Left-wing people like Bernie Sanders, America's always wrong. Israel's always wrong. I expect that from AOC and the squad. But for people that are very learned on these powerful podcasts and that throw this out and, we shouldn't be doing anything with Venezuela, just worry about our own country, don't understand that Venezuela is our own country, that Ukraine does matter to our national security, and that we have energized and got the attention of all our European allies. And so to defend themselves, now they could want to defend themselves, but they're not capable. But soon they'll be able to if we can get them the weapons they want to buy from us. So we got to pick up the pace there for Pete and those guys. Get that manufacturing base going on military. So it all works, and this is all for profit. This is all we're saving money by stopping Venezuela from trafficking drugs into our country. We're saving money by enforcing the border to not have social programs prop up illegal immigrants. We're saving money and making money by making weapons at a big rate. R&D moves forward, mass manufacturing moves forward, and our enemies, our allies, are capable of defending themselves with our help. This helps everybody.
Brian Kilmeade is back with me this afternoon. What did he say? Did he have an update on anything related to the shutdown? I heard Senator Thune say yesterday, look, we'll have conversations with the Democrats about the ACA subsidies, but we got past the CR first.
Absolutely. Nothing's going to, what they told me? It looks like Thanksgiving. Do you believe
really?
that?
So a couple of months. That? No, I don't believe that. I was hoping it was going to be that long, but no one wants to break at this point. And again, I don't see where the left has leverage here. I really don't. Now here's where they might have leverage. Look, if I went, I did this before the show here tonight, Brian, go to the STL Today, which is our local, propaganda paper here in St. Louis. And one of the top stories that's up there is about how, you have a situation where some of the checks aren't going to go to people who need the checks here this weekend or in a couple of weeks. I'm looking for the story right now. Oh, here it is. More than 630,000 Missourians to lose food stamp benefits next month under shutdown. Now, I don't know. I didn't dig into the story, but obviously those types of things are going to be out there. And the Democrats, I think, are hoping that the blame gets shifted to Republicans.
Good luck with that. What they're doing is the speakers out there, other people are out there, getting the message out about the shutdown. So it gets a little redundant after a while. I don't know how much more you're going to add, but they're making it about health care. And what the Republicans got to do is make it, these are pandemic increases that were never supposed to be long-term. They were extended because Obamacare has failed and never become affordable. They were supposed to be out there. Market forces were supposed to drive the price of everything down. Instead, the price of insurance has gone up, and they need subsidies in order to make it affordable. So the bottom line is the thing that you wanted to repeal that's now got people more popular is unsustainable, and that's called Obamacare, created to make a sustainable healthcare system. But the result was without massive taxpayer subsidies, it doesn't work. And on top of that, no one says, thank God I have Obamacare, because it's the worst healthcare you can have. High deductibles. Doctors aren't happy to see it. And, all of Congress who passed it aren't on it. They have a much better plan.
If only some of us had been warning about some of these things at the time, Brian.
Shame.
Yeah,
shame.
Exactly. Hey, you have several options. I think I only have one here in St. Louis. Have you chosen which Hate America rally you're going to attend tomorrow?
Right. I'm going to New Orleans to do a feature with Shaq and Master P.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not going to be able to protest. So my whole family's disappointed they're going to have to protest without me.
Wait, what are you doing with those guys?
They're doing one's president of Sacramento State College, and the other's president of the University of New Orleans, and they're doing a fundraising game. And I got friendly with Percy, and I got, Shaq's been great. So I just thought they said if I come down there, I'll get the interviews and see the game. And both of them took over. I figured I'll focus on the college sports, how everything's changed, and the kids are getting paid, and talk about how there's still an academic message. And if you go to Sacramento State, no offense, you're not going pro. And if you go to the University of New Orleans, you're most likely not going pro, but you're a top program. So what is the message to these schools? I just thought these are two role models. Together, it's too much to pass up.
You can call him Percy. I have to call him Master P. You have that direct relationship with him. That's pretty cool.
He wants me to call him Percy because he wants to get the rapper thing done because he's a businessman now. And
well, that makes sense, right? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
He's a mogul. I think there's no doubt about that. All right, what's coming up on Sunday night?
I'm going to lead with Eric Trump. Going to go to Senator Tom Cotton. I got Sid Rosenberg and John Catsimatidis talking about this mayoral debate with national implications and what it means for the business community. Catsimatidis, a self-made billionaire. And then I got my interview with Tim Green, who has got ALS and writes books with his eyes. I updated it. You'll see the package on Sunday. I think it'll be one of the most impressive things you've seen. And it's not because I'm on it; it's because Tim Green's featured on it. And those are the things we're going to be doing this weekend. I'm also got the media segment going to be focusing on with Abby Hornacek, whose dad, Jeff Hornacek, played 20 years in the NBA. But she's a fantastic reporter for us. So, that'll be the show coming your way Sunday at 9 o'clock your time.
I learned something there. I knew Abby's name. I knew who she is. I did not know that was her father. It makes sense, though. That's a popular name from the past. Brian, have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
Go get it, Mark.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got an accident reported on westbound 44 at Kings Highway, and this, it looks like a vehicle into the median. So we've got the left shoulder and the two left lanes blocked, and it looks to me like we've got a vehicle on its side. So we have a jam behind it. If you are westbound on 44, expect a jam to start right around Compton. 44 is worse than 64 right now, and 64-40, it's just moderate volume at Clayton Skinker. Eastbound is slowing on either side of 170. That's jamming up southbound 170. Out west, 64 is a slow go from Highway N out through the 70 split. 70 looks good out of downtown. It's slowing at Wentzville. And eastbound traffic on 70, some volume between Wright City and Wentzville. But southbound 270, just a little moderate volume at Ladue Road. And there's volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. And eastbound 64, 157 through 159. This report brought to you by Barrett Mirror Glass and Door. Simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. You can't find better quality, prices, or service. They have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, "Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody." Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back. And we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. I am excited to announce the opening of Golden Oak Premier Realty. We're your one-stop shop for financing and buying your home. Not moving? Rates are low and your home's equity is higher than ever. Refinancing with Golden Oak now can save you thousands. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing, call Golden Oak today.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
We've been here 30 years.
30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brand new show on Apple TV Plus, which I guess they're just calling Apple TV now, called The Last Frontier.
All right, everyone, circle up. We have a down plane 2 miles south from here. It is used to move inmates around the country. 11 a capture, 18 still missing. This is going to be their one shot at freedom.
Mr. Remnick, Sidney Schofield, CIA. Padlock's out there executing a plan. Do whatever it takes to secure the perimeter.
Knock, knock. Schofield, this is Alaska. There is no perimeter.
It's Jason Clarke who stars, but it also stars Dallas Goldtooth, who plays a marshal in this. He's a Native American actor, and he's here in St. Louis for a visit to talk about The Last Frontier. Dallas Goldtooth, how are you?
Hey, good to be here. I'm really happy to be in St. Louis. Love the place.
Have you been here before?
I've been here once or twice before, years ago, conference stuff.
But you grew up where? In Minnesota, right?
Minnesota, yeah.
Did we consider that? See, there's always this. Is that the Midwest? That's kind of like the northern West, isn't it?
We were just talking about it. I consider it the Midwest. I do consider it, but like, let's just, I don't know if we find commonality here. Ohio is not the Midwest. That's my opinion. That is my hard opinion.
Yeah, Ohio's not the Midwest.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
Can we unite with that? Okay,
yes.
great.
We're on the same page
Common
there.
ground, we solved the problems of this country.
But there is a common sense that kind of rolls through that part of the country from Minnesota on down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we lose a little bit in Arkansas. I don't know. Nothing, no offense to my friends in Arkansas. So just before we get into the show, a little bit about Dallas Goldtooth, because how did this all get started with you doing acting? And you have a comic background too, right? Comedian?
Yeah. Look, I started doing this. I started making silly YouTube videos with a bunch of friends of mine. That's where it starts with. We started doing making videos. People started asking us to do college shows. We started touring, traveling. Eventually, one of my buddies in our group got a TV show, and that became Reservation Dogs on FX.
Yeah, and that was a big show, and I apologize. I had not seen that, but I heard a lot of great buzz. That was out, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah. It came out in 2020, and it ran for 3 seasons. I ended up being a writer on it as well as a performer, and that kind of jumped, was my intro into Hollywood of sorts, but I've always maintained Midwest roots. I live in Chicago, from Minnesota, and I landed this gig. Apple TV wanted me. They wanted me to be in the show, The Last Frontier, so here I am.
But it sounds like the acting thing, did it come a little later in life then?
Yeah. No, I've only been doing it since 2020.
Right. And can I ask how old you are?
I'm 42.
Okay. One time I asked Jeremy Piven that question. He got all pissed off at me because I asked his age, so I have to be careful about that. It was very uncomfortable. It's one of the most interesting interviews I've ever done, Dallas, honestly. So thank you for not, breaking bad on me for asking your age.
It's all good, man.
But what were you doing before all the acting?
The
YouTube videos, what were you doing?
We were doing, past 15, 17 years was stage, sketch comedy, improv comedy, college shows. But my day job was actually, I was a organizer. I worked for an environmental justice organization. I did national organizing with a bunch of frontline Native groups who are fighting different forms of extraction. And really my job was supporting frontline communities who are trying to protect their homelands. That was my job as an organizer.
So this show, The Last Frontier, not exactly a comedy show, right?
No, it's a nice, fast-paced action drama thriller.
And it stars Jason Clarke. I've watched, and I apologize, I've only watched about the first 20 minutes of, I think there's 2 episodes out right now, and then more come out this weekend. So you play Marshall, is that right?
Yeah, so this is the idea. For those that remember, this is The Fugitive meets Con Air.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. It is.
You
Yes.
With me?
Yep,
All right.
I am.
So it is a convict transport airplane crash lands in remote Alaska. The U.S. Marshal Service are the ones responsible for such airplanes. So when it crash lands, it is up to the Marshal Service, and I play one of the U.S. Marshals along with Jason Clarke. Our job is to go investigate and find the survivors.
Yeah.
But it turns out one of these survivors is like a rogue CIA secret spy
Super
agent.
bad guy.
And so
Yeah.
the story is, who's this guy? Why is he on this plane? And what's the nefarious mission that he's on? And how are we going to save the world kind of vibe? But it's all grounded in community. It takes place in Fairbanks, Alaska. We filmed it in Canada, and it's a wild ride, man. It is a truly wild ride.
Alfre Woodard plays a character, seeming, and I saw the first part of her entrance into the show. She plays like one of the CIA operatives, right?
Yeah, she's like the head of their department. I love Alfre.
Did you get to work with her, though?
Yeah, I didn't get to work with her on. Wait, no. Yes, there was 2 scenes.
A little bit
later in the season. You see me. She was amazing. I love her. She's so nice and like. Yeah, I was starstruck. Starstruck with her because she's been in everything.
Well, Jason too. I mean, Jason Clarke. He's a stud, isn't he?
I ain't gonna lie. When I first got the gig, I was like, "Who's Jason Clarke?" And then I saw his picture,
name.
and then
You didn't know his name.
I didn't
Right.
know his name.
Right.
And I saw his face. I was, oh, he's in everything.
Yeah.
And I've come to now. I've since become. He's a close friend of mine. He's amazing. He's an actor's actor. He's Australian. Most people don't know that.
Yeah, I knew
He's
that
Australian.
because there is an accent there. Yeah.
But he's just such an amazing actor, and he holds it down in the show.
Well, so you mentioned, set in Alaska, filmed in Canada. I'm guessing because there's a lot of snow involved here, Dallas, isn't there? A lot of snow.
Yeah.
Was the snow all real, or were there? I'm just curious about that.
The vast majority of the exterior scenes, snow. That we did do some CGI, but the first episode, you see a plane crash action sequence there. It's all in the snow. We filmed it all on location. Apple TV went no holds bar and trying to make
that opening
the most
sequence
the highly polished, spectacular show that it is.
The mistake that I made, and just because I was trying to cram this in before he came in, is I watched some of it on my iPad. That's a no-no. Well, I got to watch it on my 85-inch, right? Because there's lots of action.
95-inch. If you got 95, go for the 95.
All right, I'll go for the 95 as well. One thing that made me curious about this show, just because I love what he does, is it looked like Glenn Kessler's name was attached as a producer. Yes. And that guy he's just hit after hit after hit, I think.
Yeah, I tell you what, the whole team behind us, the creative team, there's such a good track record of making good shows. And I think that show is actually a little bit different than what most people are used to for Apple TV programming, right?
In what way?
It's like, it's a lot of the shows at Apple Plus, nothing against them. Actually, I'm a huge fan of Apple TV shows, but they're very intellectual, very heady. This one is just nice rock'em sock'em action drama.
You need that, though, right?
You do. I mean, I feel like it really appeals to those of us in the Midwest, just like something that kind of escapes. Hey, it's a bit of an escapism action
That's
piece.
good, though. We need
kinda
that.
Sometimes need that in life, right?
No, I think we need a lot. I think we need a lot more right now. One of the things, and I was having a conversation before we started talking with one of the reps from here in St. Louis, and I reviewed films for 3 decades and went to Hollywood and talked to actors and stuff like that. And I did it because it was a passion of mine, right? I didn't make very much money doing it, but it really was a passion. But I did get to a point, and I know that you've worked on social justice causes, but with films, sometimes it's like, oh my God, can we just have something fun, right? Just something fun that we can say, okay, turn our brains off because so much in life is so overwhelming.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I've done the activism, I've done the organizing. It's still a big part of my heart and my drive. Look, I'm also currently advocating. There's a major flooding happening right now in Western Alaska. Supporting.
Nobody knows about that, right?
Nobody knows about
wow.
it. There was the remnants of the typhoon that hit Asia. Slammed into Western Alaska. There's thousands of people who have been evacuated. They're refugees right now in Anchorage. It's breaking news. It literally just happened this last weekend. No one is talking about it because Alaska is seen as the frontier. We don't know what's going out there. So this show centers itself in that community, elevates the struggle, and says, okay, we're not going to forget the people here, but also there's a bigger world impact story happening here with these spies and all that stuff. But let's really keep it grounded in the community, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
So the show's called The Last Frontier. Today is Friday. Does that mean there are 2 more episodes out this weekend?
No, so the first 2 episodes came out last week.
Last week, okay.
And now every Friday a new episode will drop all the way up until December. There's 10 episodes, so the last episode is in December.
I seem to be going back to watching, and I kind of like this a little bit. I had some health issues over the summer, so I was like cranking on streaming, right? But there is something fun to having the show released week by week, to have something to look forward to. Or really, I mean that, you know?
No, yeah, I think, look, everyone has a different opinion on whether they want to binge and watch them all at the same time or space it out. This one is every week, and I hope people enjoy it and sit back and relax. And, well, I don't know if you're going to relax. It's a pretty intense show. So have a good time and enjoy the spectacular action sequences that we've laid out in this show. Like the first episode, we filmed I think it's like a 6 to 8 minute one take action sequence where we come in on a helicopter, hot land into the crash site, figure out what's going on, and then we have to get back to the helicopter.
And I watched that scene.
Yeah.
So that's like a one-take deal?
One take. We filmed that all in one take.
Wow. How much, this is a question I had, how much are drones being used now, like in a scene like that?
You know, there was no drones in that shot.
Really?
Whatsoever. There's a couple like establishing shots where they use the drones, but for the most part, it's a person holding the camera that's doing all the work.
That's awesome. Dallas Goldtooth, thank you so much for coming in. The show is called The Last Frontier. It's on Apple TV. It used to be called Apple TV Plus, but they're changing the name, getting real confusing for those of us who have actual Apple TVs that we stream all our stuff through. Have you been, not to get too far ahead of the situation, but have you been renewed for a second season? Do you know?
We have not. So
okay.
we are on hold.
We're going to fix that. We're going to fix that this weekend. All right. Who do I need to talk to? I'll get on the horn, and we're going to get people in St. Louis to watch The Last Frontier. Awesome to have you in. Thank you so much.
So happy to be here. Have a good day.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews are making progress on this accident westbound 44 approaching Kings Highway. We had an overturned vehicle in the median, and it looks like it has been righted, and the actual fire truck has left. But we still have the left shoulder and the 2 left lanes blocked, and traffic is jammed behind it. Now, Mark Reardon will probably have that cleared by the time he makes it through, just letting him know. And that is a jam that goes back past Compton. So in the meantime, we look pretty good. But we've got some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. It's that Chuck Berry thing at Powell tonight.
At Powell Hall, yeah.
And other stuff. So it's a slow go if you're headed in from Illinois, but into it's fine. But eastbound 64, accident reported approaching McKnight. And out west, there is some volume on westbound 40, Lake St. Louis Boulevard through the 70 split. 70 slows at Highway A. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. This report is brought to you by Aspen Contracting. Don't let cracked or missing siding leave your home vulnerable to the St. Louis weather. Aspen Contracting has the crews and project managers ready to protect your home and restore its beauty. Call Aspen today for your free siding inspection. 636-465-1696. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. Fraud and scams can strike anyone. My office works to ensure that Missouri is free from deception and unfair practices. Last year, we handled over 65,000 consumer complaints and returned more than $400 million to Missourians. If you've been a victim of fraud, call 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews, and Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property with forestry mulching. If invasive plants and trees have overtaken your land, Missouri Brush Control will mulch vegetation where it stands with specialized equipment that is efficient and eco-friendly. Selective land clearing like this can help you maximize your property's value. Enjoy your land like you've always dreamed of. Check out our website or Facebook page for before and after photos and videos of our projects. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com. That's MissouriBrushControl.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
With this season's drought and high temperatures, demand for new sprinkler system installs is at its peak. Even with a little rain in the forecast, now is the absolute best time to put a new system in place, setting you up for a healthier, greener lawn next year. Don't let your lawn go through another season looking the way it does today. Take control now, and you'll never have to worry about the damage heat and dry weather can cause again. Call 636-695-7800 or visit ProOutdoor.com to schedule your new system installation today.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And at 5:34, this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From Festus to Freeburg, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we're losing a legendary media. Well, he's not going to die. I don't think he's going to die. John Pertzborn, Fox 2 anchor and reporter, is retiring as of next Wednesday. I'm a fan. He listens to this show. I invited John to come in and share some thoughts as he moves on to the next chapter. Again, I don't think he's dying. John Pertzborn, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mark. This is kind of like a debriefing. You're going to help me through this process.
I was going to ask you, is it kind of like a eulogy for a funeral? All these people are kind of saying goodbye to you, right?
It is. That's what it feels like. You know, people say, how do you feel? What's it like? I have no idea. I've never done it before.
Right, exactly.
You know, and I'm too busy to even think that it's all going to end after Wednesday. And that's kind of a weird thought. I'll know Thursday how I feel.
Yeah, so you think you'll be okay with it? Like, you're not just going to sit on your ass, right, moving forward. But look, you've had this existence for a long, long time, right?
Yeah, I just kind of stumbled into this profession as a kid, you know, calling into radio shows.
Yeah, talk about that, because I saw that on the bio a little bit. You're really young and you start calling radio shows?
Yeah, so this would have been in the early 70s. My brother was in Vietnam, and I was lonely. And I think he did 2 tours. And, you know, my dad was in politics locally in Dane County, Wisconsin, county board supervisor. And so I was kind of on my own. And I just thought, well, I'm going to call into this radio talk show, because they were big back then. They were on AM. And I called in. I called myself the Canada Kid.
Did you really?
Yeah, I liked the alliteration, you know, and I thought Canada was really cool.
Wait, how old are you at this time?
Let's see, 70. I was about 12.
Okay.
11 or 12.
Well, that makes sense.
And I went to, the malls were new. They just started opening up these malls. And I went into this mall, and there were these people there from Quebec, Canada. And they gave me a little maple leaf sticker. I was into stickers, STP stickers and all this. I thought, that's cool. I want to be Canadian. I want to live in Canada. So I just started calling into these radio stations and just blabbing. And the announcer, I still remember their names, because I called one of them recently. Within the last 2 years, and he was an old man. He didn't remember. But I told him this whole story, and I said, you know, you really inspired me. He's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Well, you know, what's funny is I always tend to make things about me, so I'll do that here for a moment as we're talking to you, John. But when I was that age, I was also calling radio stations in Chicago. I would get off school, and I'd call Bob Surratt, who was on WLS at the time. And it was the great disc jockeys
remember Bob.
at WLS.
Yeah, he was
and
huge.
then, you know, it was really weird. One of the names on their early 70s, his guy was named Fred Winston. He's one of the legends up there. Well, when I went on KMOX, Fred lived in I think he's still alive. He lived in Michigan, and he could get the signal up there. So one of the guys that I was like inspired by to get into this business was now listening to me when I was doing some of the late night stuff on KMOX. That was kind of surreal, right?
It was. Well, the one guy's name was Franklin Smith, and that's the guy I called. And I told him this whole story, and you allowed me to come into the radio station one day, and you let me see your entire talk show, and then we went and met the mayor. And I'll never forget, I was in the mayor's room, and all the news reporters were there. And I remember it was during the election when Eagleton was running. And the shock treatment and all of that came up.
Yeah,
that was
big
a St.
deal.
Louis
Right,
thing.
absolutely.
And that was the big story. And then the mayor said, well, what did you think? And I went, cool. That's all I could say. I was like, and it was just, I was mesmerized by this. I remember the guy's car. I remember the cologne. I remember what he was wearing. And I called him up and I said, I just want to tell you, years ago, he goes, I don't remember. He goes, are you Jim's kid? I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, your dad was great.
Oh, he remembered Dad.
My dad.
Yeah.
And then it all came together. My dad, he starts telling me this story. He was out on a date with his girlfriend. My dad saw him over there, knew I was interested in radio, and said, hi. Picked up the bill. They went to pay it. The bill was taken care of. He calls my dad to thank him. It says, hey, if I can ever do anything. He goes, well, there is one thing.
Right.
And that's how I ended up on that. I never knew that till years later.
So let's fast forward a little. You end up going to UW in Madison for journalism school. Then what happens? When you land here in St. Louis? I mean, you were here 80s, right?
Yeah, 86 I came here. I worked at a CBS affiliate in Madison. And then I left, the recession hit, and I went up to Wausau, Wisconsin, spent 4 months there. When a job opened in Green Bay, and I jumped. I said, I got to take it.
Yeah.
And they gave it to me. And I spent 4 or 5 years there and then came to St. Louis. My father had been coming down to St. Louis for years. Every year, he would go to the White House retreat with a group of men. And it was a retreat house, and I guess they were praying or whatever. But he'd come back, and he was just like super dad for about a month after that. He just walking on air. So I grew up looking at all of these videos, or not videos, I'm sorry, they were 8mm films.
Oh, yeah.
And they would come to St. Louis, they'd go to Stan Musial's Biggies, they'd tie one on, they'd all have drinks, and then they'd drive down to the retreat house. But I remember these films of the Mississippi River and the barges going back and forth, and I was mesmerized as a kid in the 60s. And I just said, I want to move there. I want to live there. And I did. In 86, got hired at KSDK.
Yeah, you were at Channel 5 for a while, right? You did Show Me St. Louis for a while. Is that true?
That came in 95. And, I spent 13 years there.
Then when did you go to Fox?
In 98.
So how long have you been doing mornings?
Since 98. And I am...
See that?
I'll tell you, that's why I'm
killer.
retired.
Yeah,
I
it's
get
a
up
killer.
at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm living on European time. I listen to the BBC. And I get into work, and I'm usually to bed at 6 o'clock at night.
That early?
Yeah, and I'm asleep by 7.
Man, you know who John Anderson is, former ESPN anchor,
right?
Mizzou guy, right? Mm-hmm. So he's back there now in Columbia. He's doing some adjunct professor stuff, and I had never met John, but I went out to dinner with him and the journalism professor David Kerpius in the winter to see a basketball game. And I asked John, I said, "So why'd you give it up?" I mean, he had a big gig. He goes, "Couldn't do it in the morning again. He had done it his whole career." He said, "Couldn't do it anymore." I mean, that where I did mornings, John, at WTMJ, and it wears on you. I can't believe you've done it for that long. I mean, that takes a lot of things out of the mix in the evenings, right? When it comes to living life.
Yeah, meteorologist Glenn Zimmerman was on mornings for years with us, and he said something one day that resonated. He goes, "We're all sleep deprived." I'm like, "Yeah, we're zombies." And he goes, "I don't think we could do this job if we weren't."
Yeah.
I mean, like right now, I'm extremely tired, and I'm talking. When I'm well rested, I'm like a mute. I don't speak. I'm quiet. I'm a little more introverted, but there's something you're kind of punch drunk.
Yeah.
When you're lacking sleep, and I don't know how healthy it is. Dr. Ojile at the Clayton Sleep Institute says you're slowly killing yourself.
Oh, see, that's not good, right? That's why you retire.
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah, John Pertzborn is here. He is retiring next week on Wednesday, his last show on Fox 2 here in St. Louis. So what are those, I'm sure you've been asked this 100 times, the career highlights over all these years? So much has happened in St. Louis during the time that you've been here, sports-wise, news-wise,
we were just
media-wise.
I was just doing an interview. They've got a special tonight, and I was talking to the producer who put this together. 25 years ago, the death of Governor Carnahan.
Oh, Mel Carnahan, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, has it really been 25 years?
Yeah, that's crazy. And you know what's funny about that?
I wasn't even alive at the time. The producer, I'm like, woo.
I was in Milwaukee. I was doing mornings, John. I'm driving in at 3 a.m. There's a network newscast. I think we had ABC at the time, and they reported on that story. And I knew Chris Sifford, who was his chief of staff at the time.
He was a great guy.
Wasn't close with him, but that was devastating and a big national story.
Yeah, he was Margie
as well.
Ellisar's friend, and she just broke down. But I had the same experience we were in different parts of the country. I was in St. Louis driving to work, and I'm hearing all of this talk about Mel Carnahan. I'm like, why are they talking so much about him? And all of a sudden, reiterating what happened earlier, I'm like, oh my God, his son was flying the plane. Yeah, it was just a shocker.
Very, very sad. So let me kind of go back and return to the question about what's next. What is next? Are you just going to flat out retire? Are you going to get away from broadcasting? People like to do podcasts, John. I don't know if you've noticed that. Podcasting. Terrestrial radio people do not like podcasting, but that's what everyone seems to do. So are you going to kick back, play golf, do things like that, or is something else planned?
Well, my former co-host, Randy Naughton, has contacted me. She says, you've got to come on my podcast. We could do it together. She really loves doing this. Yeah, I'll come on there.
Stuff like that, maybe, right?
But I just don't have this biological need to be in the public.
That's good, though,
anymore.
I think.
Yeah,
that's healthy.
I mean, when I was younger, it was everything, and now it's just, it doesn't define me. The other thing, I really want to travel. My daughter-in-law's from Ukraine. When that nastiness ends, I want to go to Ukraine. I'd like to go back to Europe and maybe to Asia. I want to travel. I'm planning to go skiing in December out to Vail, Beaver Creek, and places like that.
You got all kinds of plans. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got a buddy
Love
just retired from the State Department. So, we haven't been together since college, and we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to go skiing, and my wife's coming out, and my son and his wife, and we're going to have a good time.
You seem at peace with it, which is good.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Some people come up, is this your decision? I said, no, I'm not being fired. I'm retiring.
Right.
I'm 65. It's time,
Yeah, I always thought that I gave up my movie critic stuff a few years ago, and if you would have asked me before that, could you see yourself ever doing that? And I would be like, no, I'm always going to do this. It's going to be part of the fabric of my life. Well, then, the pandemic came and things changed, and they started doing these interviews, that you do out in Hollywood on Zoom. I'm totally at peace with it. It's fine. So if anyone wants to give me the chance to retire, just write a check or something like that. I always ask Rex Singfield if he'll write me a check. He hasn't up until this point. All right. So if I ever have to sign off the air when it's my choice, John, I'm totally guessing I'm going to be fired at some point, and that's going to be it. But I think, and maybe the audience would be surprised by this, but I'd get emotional. I would get a little choked up. You think you'll be able to do this on Wednesday without getting emotional?
I don't know. Like today, I came close because Timmy Zell is dealing with
a
horrible
he's got health
disease,
issues, right?
And we ran a piece, and it came out of what Margie had done the interview, and that's really what I'm focusing on right now. I'm thinking about Tim.
Yeah,
and there's just so much going on. I have another friend who's not doing well, and it's just their health issues are kind of preoccupying.
Puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really does.
These are wonderful people. Tim is the heart and soul of Fox, too. So,
and John, you know this. There's no more John Pertzborn that's moving forward. I mean, no one is going to stay in this business for 4 decades anymore. The media, right? It's changed too much.
I believe I went to the University of Wisconsin Journalism School. I do believe I'm one of the last still in the business from that class. And that was early 80s, 82.
I call myself a survivor in this business, right?
And I didn't even want to really do this. It was just a hobby. I think the same with you.
Yeah, it was just a passion.
Yeah.
I started music radio, but I segued after journalism school at Mizzou and, then started doing news and tried to figure it out from there. Well, listen, I'm a fan. You know that. And you connected with me pretty early because you knew I had Wisconsin ties having lived up there.
We went to lunch, remember?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And we sometimes have tried to get you on the afternoon, but you're taking your naps. But here's an open invitation for you. I do this Reardon Roundtable on Fridays. You can come in and be a member of the panel on the Reardon Roundtable. Now, I must say, John, that 10% of the panelists from the Reardon Roundtable end up in federal prison. So there's a slight risk for you to come on the show because we seem to have, but you're not a politician, so you got that going for you.
Right.
Well, have fun next week. Enjoy
Thank
retirement. I know I'm going to still hear from you because I hear from you via text when you're listening sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
Good
having
luck
me.
with everything.
Appreciate it.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
He will be missed.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's so nice. Okay, accident. Eastbound 6440, and this is approaching McKnight. Now, they've got the right lanes blocked, only one left lane getting by, sometimes two, but boy, do we have a jam behind it, and it's back through Lindbergh. Now, the good news is they cleared that accident westbound 44 approaching Kings Highway. There's still some volume unwinding, but it will be fine by the time Mark leaves. Now, westbound 70 It looks good from downtown on out through 61. But eastbound, there is some moderate volume east of Wright City through the Wentzville area. 55 is in good shape, southbound 270. But there's volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
25 years of 97.1 in St. Louis. Here's Jimmy Fallon.
Danny Fry, Mark Cox. I mean, you guys have a stacked deck. You got that Jimmy Fallon guy later in the day, but you know what? You drink a little bit at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, you'll get through a show. Congrats on 25 years.
Climate Masters. We specialize in older homes. Climate Masters Heating and Cooling. Trusted heating and cooling installation and maintenance service. Keeping the St. Louis Metro comfortable since 1978. Call us today at 314-968-8383. Climate Masters.
Oh, I always step on that, and I always apologize. Don't be that person when the power goes out, whether it's from storms. We could have severe weather this weekend. That is in the forecast, so you have to be prepared for that. But you're not prepared if you don't have a Generac home standby generator. That should be part of your life, because whether it's weather outages, an ice storm could happen over the winter. You could have the power grid that fails. You want to make sure that you are protected. And your home can be energy independent from Ameren and all the utilities right here in St. Louis. Give yourself peace of mind. At the very least, call for a free estimate. They have low monthly payments available. Generac home standby generators are the best in the industry. Of course, you need Generator Supercenter to maintain and do the warranty work. That's why you want to make sure you do this the right way. There's a showroom in Chesterfield. The phone number is 314-499-2020. The website, GeneratorSupercenterofSt.Louis.com.
This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. I am excited to announce the opening of Golden Oak Premier Realty. That means we're your one-stop shop for financing and buying your home. One team, one goal, your home. Not moving? Now is still the time. Your home's equity is higher than ever. And with our 4.5% mortgage rate, you could save over $1,000 every month. Use your equity to pay off high-interest credit cards, lower your monthly payment, or even skip 2 months of mortgage payments. And don't forget, if your loan doesn't close, we'll pay for your appraisal. We make the process fast and easy, often getting your cash in as little as 14 days. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing, call Golden Oak today and let us put our 25 years of experience to work for you. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis, and they get paid weekly. Available to eligible Medicaid members in St. Louis. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid. Freedom Care has over 7,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want to receive great care from a loved one, go to freedomcare.com, or for faster service, call 314-597-1749. 314-597-1749. That's 314-597-1749.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, the weekend has arrived. It looks like tomorrow's going to be a bit of a washout. You know, Ethan, who is our producer, who does play-by-play for Lindenwood, they have a big game tomorrow, you were saying. And, you know, I got this email from Harris Stowe earlier. They canceled all their homecoming because of the weather. Ooh. But good luck getting in a game tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. They're playing the number 8 ranked team in the FCS. The FCS has already said it's the game of the week.
And who is that? Who's
that's
the team?
Tennessee Tech, conference
Tennessee Tech,
opponent.
okay.
But, I mean, it's supposed to thunderstorm for like 8 hours straight tomorrow.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're
know.
going to get what's going to happen.
I hate it when football gets canceled because of rain, but if you have severe weather and storms and stuff like that, that's not a
No, they don't like
good
lightning
thing.
when you're out there.
Now, can I tune in somewhere to listen to your play-by-play? Like if there is a game?
The radio broadcast, which I am on, is on 89.1 KCLC.
Oh, good to know.
And
And
that
the
probably has
videos,
about the same
videos,
wattage
ESPN
as
Plus.
the one that I worked at when I was, 15 years old, 10
Probably.
watts or something like that. But you sound great on it. All right, we got to do this.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Well, I don't know where to go here. I guess I got to make it short. There was a big meeting at the White House today, and the president answered a lot of questions about Ukraine. Zelensky was right there in the room. The meeting was actually behind Zelensky. Zelensky wants Tomahawk missiles. Trump's not ruling that out, but not really prepared to say, yeah, let's give them to you right now. Is it leverage with Putin?
President Trump, I don't mean to be brokering an arms deal here, but is that something that you would be interested in, Ukrainian drones?
We are, yeah, we would. We have a lot of drones right now. We build our own drones, but we also buy drones from others, and they make a very good drone. I mean, drone warfare has really come to the fore over the last couple of years because of this war.
Then there's the mayor's race in New York. We're getting down to the wire, a couple of weeks away. They'll vote for this communist, but Andrew Cuomo, and I guess you still had Sliwa in there last night.
Abolish jails, no new carceral facilities, don't enforce misdemeanors, and you're on the bill in Albany as a sponsor to decriminalize prostitution.
We haven't heard Governor Cuomo say the word affordability. That's why he lost the primary. That's why he'll lose the general election.
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive, but let me tell you something. You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
I love Curtis Sliwa because he's the real New Yorker in the group. He was the guy with the what was the damn thing called? The Guardian Angels. Remember I kept talking about that from the 80s? That was Lisa Sliwa and Curtis Sliwa, and he's the perennial New York mayor's candidate. Have a great weekend, Sue.
You too.
We'll talk on Monday afternoon at 3.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a stall reported westbound 70 past Cave Springs. Watch for that on the right shoulder. And some volume out there. There was an accident eastbound 6440 before McKnight, and that has been blocking the right lanes. Traffic is jammed through there. That's kind of the worst of it. If you're headed in from Illinois to go to some entertainment in St. Louis tonight, there's a little bit of volume there. Also on the Illinois side, a real jam on southbound Route 3, well, and northbound as well. But it's all at Queenie because of a slow-moving train. Other than that, we're okay. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Climate Masters. We specialize in older homes. Climate Masters Heating and Cooling. Trusted heating and